everyone. I hope you've all been well. The words, yes. I can certainly say I'm excited to be here. It's been exactly 2 weeks since we've last done a programming stream, but I feel like my mind has just blue screened from then until now, so we'll see how today goes. And let's go ahead and start off with the roll call, shall we? We'll start off with YouTube over here. Hi, Sonic Edits. Welcome in the stream. Welcome in, and welcome back as well. And then on Twitch's side of things, let's see here. We have Ame, we have Cat Sound Keyboard, we have Jack, we have Mima, we have Dumamamamur, we also have Banafi, we also have Chapel, and I think, did I say Nima? If not, Nima X2, as well as Ame. Welcome in the stream. Welcome in. Now, okay, let's see about getting caught up on all the messages here. If I slide up a little bit, I should be able to see the little dance emotes, the non-nose picking trademark emotes. I see those as well, and oh boy, I sure hope we don't get dropped waiting for the elevator. I hope so too. I don't know if you realize this, but I too am trapped in the elevator area. It's not like I choose to be there. I just take a moment of opportunity when I see it, when it presents itself. Oh boy, and then let's see here, and welcome in as well, Chapel. Welcome in the stream in the dance crew. I do have to admit, I do like the starting music. One of the reasons why I don't just start stream when we start stream on here, I like listening to the music for at least a little bit. It warms me up to feeling good things and good start. That's good to hear as well, and I hope the grass isn't green. Oh boy. And hi, I hope everyone's having a great day, and if you're not, try turning it on and off again. You know, I'll take that one. That one, appropriate enough to consider. Compared to all the other times where theft and thievery was questioned about, was wondering if it should be the thing. I'll take turning it on and off again. That does sound like a good way to reset everything. And words indeed. And 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. And don't worry, we'll get those brain folds and no, please. No. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, my brains will be folded the more this goes on. Don't you worry. They just have to. The engine just has to rev up. So I'll be fine, I assure you. And do you remember how to code? I spent a little bit of this morning refreshing on the code and trying my best to make sure to understand where we last left off. So we'll see. I went through everything. I even rewatched the ending of last stream too to make sure I had a little bit of an understanding of what went on, and I may or may not. What horrifying words. And I can help you exercise your brain if you ask. No, I don't wanna. Let me be smooth brain for a little bit. Let my mind do what it wants to do and rev up in the natural way. Don't force it. Oh boy, that's how you get headaches. Let me slide this guy over here since that timer is just about up. Let me go ahead and slide this guy on over to here. I gotta unsmooth the brain. Do I have to though? Let me click on this screen here. Then let's go into the transition screen right about here. And we should be good to go. Welcome into today. You and I are both going to be having a learning experience, that's for sure. Oh boy. To recap, I've been working on this game for, I think, a little over, just almost a 2 years mark in August. I think it'll officially have been 2 years I've worked on this game. And very recently, I haven't been able to work on the game as often as I would hope. I had been working on for a good steady amount of time, working on the game every few days out of the week, if not every day of the week, and then it swapped over to working on it every time I streamed. So progress has been really slow very recently, just because I've been working in the background for things like this. Hold on, yeah, you want to know why Necrotype Cafe hasn't been getting made? Case in point. all my points have been moved towards learning how to draw characters. That's what I've been doing. But good news is birthday will be here soon, so we'll be able to go back to our regularly scheduled programs. Oh yes, the important things in life. Art. And you've got an hour until that brain gets wrinkled. Oh boy, and honestly, that time well spent. Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's just, I realize my time can only be allocated to so many things. With that said, though, we're going to start off with the elevator pitch. I'll then recap what we have been able to get through since not touching this for a while, and then we'll actually get to today's topic, which will be just continuing to work on the tutorial. And I'm sure that sounds great, especially the part where you all sit there all nice and comfy and not look at anything else. And so we reach our final destination. And the good animation is very important. Thank you, thank you. And it's time that I question myself. What WWBD? And what would Bobby do? Why do you mention that? As you can see right there in the very background of this business building, Bobby exists right there. No, I forgot to mention as well. Check, congratulations on 60-day streak as well. Thank you, and thank you for the Prime subscription as well. Thank you. Oh, gifted, my goodness. How kind and generous of you. Thank you very much. We reached this lovely business building here, and you've already pressed the button as you're waiting for the elevator to arrive. And the elevator will arrive, and I'd say about probably a good solid minute or so from about now. And since you have no way else of leaving, as in there's no stairs to go up or down, there's no doors, there's no windows. People have tried before to see if they have a pickaxe in their inventory to chip away at the walls. They can't do that either because you have nothing on you. Hi, Agape. Welcome to the stream. Welcome in. And, since you are 100% safe here from no harm from your anything outside source, I happen to also be here. I've said before how I'm also stuck here. However, while you are all wanting out and asking for help and doing all of those things, I see a perfect opportunity here. I see an opportunity for... Let's see. Business. Stocks. Bonds. Golden parachutes. Hi. And what if I never get on and just stay on this floor forever? Sounds like paradise to me. And since you clearly have some time on your hands, don't numbers go up. Since you clearly have some time on your hands, why don't I go ahead and talk about my up-and-coming game? But surely you've heard about by now. That game is called, bam, Necrotype Cafe, a rhythm typing cafe game, as I said before. I've been working on for almost 2 years now. I thought this game would take me 4 months. Well, hold on, 6 months. 6 months is being generous. I thought it would take me 6 months. We're here now. It's the second game I've ever made. The first ever game I made was made in 24 hours. Anytime I worked on the game, I had a stopwatch going. So technically speaking, this is the first ever large game, and it'll be my first ever Steam release when we get there. But that said, though, welcome into the elevator pitch. It's a section I like to do at the beginning of my stream where I attempt to pitch my game to you. Be it you haven't been here before, be it you're just returning, it gives me a good chance to get better at explaining the game, as well to those of you who may have not entered this realm before. And hi Napa, welcome into stream as well. Welcome in. And what do you mean gifted? It says can just continue through. Hold on. It said gifted. It said continuing the gift sub they got. Oh, I see. Well, thank you to you again, Cats on Keyboard. I think what it's saying is that Cats on Keyboard gave you a sub check and then you redeemed that sub, if I'm understanding it correctly. And with that said, let me go ahead and slide this guy right over here. I should be able to see the screen. Probably, let me shimmy shuffle down a little bit more. And if I click on you here, did it auto-redeem? Is that what I'm getting from that? Oh my. If I go ahead and click on that button there, you will see that the game is, or the timer is 45 seconds. Once it reaches there, I will attempt to pitch it to you. And Cat's not even here. They were here earlier. I remember the threat. No. I remember their non-existent threat. Sometimes it's a threat, sometimes it's not. That's welcome to a Necrotype Cafe, a rhythm typing cafe game where you play as Gabriella, a necromancer sent by her necromancy family to prestigious wizard magic academy. But she doesn't want to become a necromancer. No, she wants to become a baker, a chef. So she pretends she does not pretend. She opens up a hidden cafe in a part of school where she serves her fellow wizard customers, her fellow wizard students. The idea is that as you go along in the game, not only is it a cafe sim, but it's also a rhythm typing game. Rhythm typing comes into play in the fact that in this world, magic poetry, and you poetry by typing to the beat, typing out spells to the beat, different wizard type, different magics, different methods, different words. So as you go along in the game, you'll have to unlock different methods and different words and choose things to add to serve your fellow wizard customer students. And by the end of the game, you'll show everyone that you don't have to be a necromancer to be successful. You can follow your dream to be an artist. I feel like I missed a few points. Not my worst work, not my best work. So you know what, I'll take it. With that said, if for whatever reason, despite the break that was decent, yeah, not my best, not my worst, definitely have done worse. So I can at least compare to that. If I had to give it a rating from 1 to 10, a solid 7. Solid 7, maybe 7.5 if we're being generous. With that said, though, if for whatever reason that pitch didn't 100% sell you, which is, I don't know why it wouldn't, why don't I go ahead and show you the prototype of the game? If I do exclamation here and I do NECROTYPE, that should work. It should send you a link to the game if it does do it correctly. Lovely. And while that's sent, let me go ahead and get off my business attire here. No more business suit, and let me get my programming business associate Bobby here. Oh, hold on, Bob. I don't remember. Oh, I see. There he is. Oh boy. And with that said, let's go into the other screen and breathe. We surely can breathe. Hold on, let me get some good music background. If I go ahead and click onto our screen, let's see, this guy right here, I then enable the music of here. And then we go ahead and click on this button right here. Lovely. When you click on the join, or not the join, but if you click the link, you'll be brought to the screen. And if I click on run game here, we should be able to have the music play. Everything you see here I've made. So from the music to the programming to the art, 100% done by moi. If I go ahead and click on that guy here, and then I were to hide this guy, show this guy, let's see if it does. Lovely. You should be able to hear the game. And with that said, let's go ahead and do some breathing exercises. And I gotta grab the munchies, BRB. Well, I hope your food that you do grab is delicious. And thank you as well, Chapel, for the hand claps. With that said, yes, let's do some breathing. We'll slowly start off by breathing in. Hold it. Then breathe out. Then breathe in. Hold it. Then breathe out. One more time, breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. Hopefully your breathing has been regulated. And with that said, let me go ahead and show you the now very much outdated tutorial that we will be updating today. So while we're doing the tutorial, keep in mind all of these things that you're looking at, and I'll show you the current version of the game, and then the version I have, the build on Godot. And hi, Ame. Hold on, did I did say hello to you earlier. Hello again. The little derp face is adorable. Let me click on calibration here, and let's get started. Let's see. Now, there is a known bug in this current build of the game. The hope is that the version I have in Godot has fixed that bug, but I never know unless I do a lot of testing. So we'll see. If the bug does appear, I'll be sure to let you know. You'll know when it's a bug when you see it. You'll know you want to squash it. But that said, let's see how well I can do at my own game. If I click start here, wait, let's see. Okay, wait, hit, wait, hit, wait, hit. That first miss was because I wasn't tapped in. Wait, hit, wait, hit, wait, hit, wait, hit, wait, hit, wait, hit. There we are. Calibration is 0.002 milliseconds. How does that sound? And she's trying to forget me. No, not at all. The thing is, your name is blue on my screen, and I hadn't seen blue very recently. So I forgot about the blue. If I click on you here, and then we go into levels, let's go ahead and try out the tutorial. If I click on you here, let's give it a go. So here we have Gabriella, our resident necromancer who doesn't want to be a necromancer. If we move the arrow keys around here, we have the customer. And the customer, let's go ahead and sit them down with E. They'll find a nice spot to sit down at, read their book, think about their life choices, and then wave their little arm around to let you know that, yes, I have something I want to order. And, oh, you have that thing where Twitch randomizes it? It doesn't. I think it changes every string possibly. It's just, I see colors and the colors register before the name. So I just think to myself, oh, I haven't seen this color yet today. But then, no, I have seen that color. I just forgot. Which is funny because your color is one of my favorite colors. So that's why it caught me by surprise. We have here the customers ready to order. They're waving the little arm around. So let's go ahead and take their order. And if I click on that, what you'll see is, if I hold down space, we have a menu here pulled up. This customer wants something a little special. The way this game works is that each wizard is represented by a color and a flavor. And the game's all about mixing and matching different flavors and different colors to create different dishes. And the different dishes give the spells and songs different levels, different types, different music, different power-ups. The idea is that it's a lot of game of mixing and matching and balancing. What you can see here is that Gabriella is a necromancer, so her color is purple. Her flavor is also bitter. And in this game, any song or anything you're casting that has the bitter flavor in it will have fancy music playing. So it's just little aspects like that is the hope that I'm trying to incorporate into the game itself. And here we have a customer that wants something sweet and bitter, and they also want a cake. And hold on, my throat, give me 1 second. There we are. Oh my. And if we follow the skull here, we'll be left with the cafe part of the, or not the cafe, the kitchen part of the game. So if I go here, you'll see we need 2 flavors and a product. That will give us the result that we're looking for. So if we go to the bookshelf here, grab a sweet flavor. If we then grab a bitter flavor, and we also grab a product, which is a cake here, and we also place it all down. Once we have all 3 ingredients here, we can go ahead and start the second part of the tutorial. When hi, I have no tongue, and I... That's a good one. I have no tongue, and I must lick. Welcome in the stream. Welcome in. And what's this? It's a game I'm currently making. If I do, hold on here, or you should be able to see it in the link, or if I do as well, Necrotype, Netype. I'm showing off that game I'm currently in the midst of making, and I shall be making throughout stream today. And music in my rhythm game, it's more likely than you think. And hi, Ray. Welcome in the stream. Welcome in. And last stream I fell asleep. No worries at all. I do that all the time. And hi as well, Sonic Edits. With that said, let's go ahead and hold down Q. This is the part we'll really be paying attention to today when we go through and redo the tutorial. What you'll see here is that once the letter reaches this white circle, we press the button. When this guy fills up, it's the completion meter. So if this fills up, we've finished. We have done it. We won. But if this guy fills up, you failed. What's the word I'm looking for? This represents any time you miss. So you want to keep this guy low and have this guy go up high. And good, that's lovely to hear. And how's everyone doing today? Hi, 8 bits per play. Welcome in the stream as well. Welcome in. As well as you, Blood Cruise Nick. Welcome back as well. Hold on. Let me see. I'm just curious. So no, never mind. I say that, but then the thing it's enabled, but it's not even appearing. So we're all good. And I'm still with Animal. Thank you, Ninka. Well, that said, let's go ahead and try this out, shall we? Without further ado, let's see. All right, okay. A-N-D space W-H-A T space I-S space G-O-O-D space. That was so many purples. I said something. N-T space T-H E space M-O-M. Okay. E space N E-V-E R space B-A-N D-E-R S-N-A-T. This is pretty good. This is a pretty good one. C-H. 88%. Have I ever tried doing it? And do not try laughing so much again. Can't do. I'm a laugh machine. Speaking of, I cannot 100% promise it, nor do I want to. Laughing's good for you. I've told it shaves a good few years, or it doesn't shave a few years off your life. It adds onto your life. The other way around. 88% though. That's pretty good. I think that's the highest I've ever gotten. So you know what? I'll take it. 88%. Yeah, my goodness, that's a lot of perfects. With that said, we click finalize on here, and then let's go ahead and save the custom ER. And if it shaved off yours, you'd be done. That's why I had to correct myself. Oh boy. Let's go over here and serve the customer. They'll eat their food, and once they're done, they'll wipe their mouth and say, yes, indeed, I would like the receipt. And we'll take the receipt, and they're off. And look at that, they're gone. That is the game in a nutshell. There's other aspects to it, considering our, for example, here, ghosts, but we won't have to worry about that today. That's for another tutorial. What's important to pay attention to is this tutorial that you see, and let me show you the updated version of the game we've been working on for the past few months. So if I go ahead now and escape you, turn your music down to here, there we are. And then I disable that music here. I then hide this guy, show this guy here, lovely. Then click on Godot here, bring you into Godot here. Let's see if this can work. And how do you laugh so much if I laugh to the... You know, funny enough, my I have been told before that it's enough to power an entire, it was a nuclear plant. Let's see, if I click on you here, then I unmute the music here. And if I click on Godot here, if I click on you here, if I click on you and you here, there we are. You should be able to see the game. Let me go ahead and show you the updates we've been working on to the game that have not been published yet, that I'm hoping by the end of this month will be on the itch version of the website. As I said before, I've been working on a lot of other things, so I'm hoping this month I can dedicate to really focusing down on Necrotype Cafe. It's a thing of, and something I didn't realize as well is that if you're looking to get into game development, one thing to consider is that if you want to have a YouTube channel, then you have to consider posting and things of that nature. When it's a thing of, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to split yourself in two. Otherwise, it's a thing of 100% game development and focusing on one thing. And I have been having a struggling time with figuring out how to balance them back and forth. But good news is I've been having fun, so I consider it a win. If we click on this guy right here, we are in the game, and you should hopefully notice something right off the bat is that there are no longer 6 tables, there are now a total of 4. And yeah, I'm thinking about it today. Well, Ray, I do 100% recommend it. I've been having a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it a lot. So if I could say anything, yeah, it's 100% worth it. You'll see here that now there's a few things on the table. What you should notice is that there are flowers and there are also candles here, and that the clock's also pretty big. Now in the game, since from the feedback I received watching people play the tutorial, it was a little bit confusing to know which table was which table, so we've added the flowers and the candles for a few things. If I hold on space, you'll see that the book has been reinvented entirely. There's now a lot of new different things, and if I go ahead and spawn in a customer here, if I can spell, hold on, spawn a customer, please, if you wouldn't mind. There we are. And we have a customer sit down. What you'll notice is, once we take their order, take a look at this. We've also added some new animations here. If I wait for the customer to read through the book, look at that. Isn't that neat? Now no longer does the customer have a timer that you can see. Now the candles represent their timer, so you have to pay attention to the candles. And I was just talking about my sister, I see, and yeah, I read over that. Lovely, lovely. So if I go ahead and click on this, look at that. We have now taken their order. So the hope of adding that little animation, the sounds, the things of that nature is that hopefully it lets the player know what's going on a little bit more in detail. Right now, this is the prototype of the game, so we're only adding the minimum viable product. We're only adding the things that make it a rhythm typing game. For example, we aren't paying too much attention to the art of the game, though. I did have a lot of fun drawing the flowers, and that's the only reason these aren't purple boxes, for example, is because I like doing the art of the game. These aren't permanent, they're just placeholders, but they're fun placeholders. Now that we have the customer's order, though, what we can do is if I hold down space, you'll see now we have a few different symbols compared to the 2 different colors. These guys, again, are subject to change, but for now, from before, you can notice that the pink stands for sweet, the purple stands for bitter, and then there's a little cake stamp. And as you go along in the game, if you go back over here, not much changes, but there is a little fading effect now, which I do quite like. There's also a little arrow here that we'll touch on a little bit later. Oh, hold on. Did you hear that flame? That means that their patience is going out, which I think is neat. And developer, I see someone cheating. Oh, you want to see cheating, do you? Oh boy. And plus having 4 purple boxes would defeat the color coding purposes. Well, I can make like a pink box and a yellow box and it would not be purple. With that said, not only do we now have a menu screen here for the orders that's a little bit more complete, what I can show you as well is that now we have an in-game wiki of what everything means. For example here, how I was talking about before the Necromancers and them having the colors, what you'll see is that there's a little Necromancer profile, and each wizard class will also have different stats as well. For example, some customers might be more patient than others, some customers might be easier to order, or some customers might really walk faster than others. That's what this will show up. Beforehand it was hidden, so now these stats are very clear on screen. For example, we have the Necromancer, which is the sweet wizard. It's our healer wizard. It's a custom class. And then our Necromancers, which have different stats. And what you'll see as well is that Necromancer represents bitter and Necromancers represent sweet. And you'll also see the descriptions. So I was talking about before with the idea of different songs meaning different things. If we do something that's a sweet bitter combination, and oh, look at that. If it's a sweet bitter combination, then it's going to be a song that has fancy instruments, hold on, fancy instruments, but it's also easy song. So that's the hope, is that you'll combine different flavors to get different types of songs and different combinations, which I'm excited for. I truly am. But that said, not only do we now have the wizard menu, and I can even click on here and we can scroll up and down for the different sections, as there will be a total of 45 apparently combinations. Truthfully, there's going to be a total of 10 flavors. So right now there's only 2 in the game, but there's going to be tons of flavors right now. Again, MVP, so as small as we can make it. But that said, I can also go here and you'll see again here that the different foods now have a, you can look at them now, which I really do enjoy. So for example, here we have the cookies, we have the cakes, and we have the cocoa. These again all will be changed, but for now they're here to represent the different types you can get in the different combinations. As this customer is still, they're gone. Oh boy, I do enjoy that. Oh boy, I do indeed. I'm back. Well, welcome back in. With that said, what we'll be working on today is the tutorial. And imagine that you got a restaurant and the only chef in the house starts recording a cooking tutorial. A cooking tutorial. That's how the customers must have felt. Yeah. Oh boy, being the experiment, that would be awful. Let me show you what the tutorial currently looks like. As we've barely started it, we've been working on the back end of things. But if I click on the tutorial, right away, you'll notice that we don't start off in the cafe anymore. Now we start off in the kitchen. And this here is the hope, is that we separate now the different, the different genres of the game. So it's a rhythm typing cafe game. First, I think it's better to show the player the rhythm typing, and then we'll show them the cafe, instead of doing cafe first, then rhythm typing. Since the rhythm typing part is a little bit trickier to pick up than the cafe portion. And if I go here, you'll see that we can move little arrow keys here. Huh? They're not supposed to appear. They're here before schedule. I didn't call them in. Once we reach here behind the desk, the task is complete. I have to wonder why they showed up though. I am very confused. Oh boy, let me go ahead and click on here, start the music up again, and the pathing ball came out of her stomach. No, it's a little skull. What is it called? The speed will change and everything, but funny you say that. An average customer showing up too early. We haven't even opened the doors and your game is alive! Well, considering the theme of it being necromancy and like Frankenstein, that does sound accurate. Oh boy, let me go ahead and click on this guy here, and let me show you the idea that we're aiming for today, and then what we'll focus on today. And hi, Forley, welcome in the stream, welcome in. I believe I recall that name, so welcome back. If so, if not, welcome in for the first time. If I click on concepts here, and customers camping in front, they were waiting, which is a sweet statement in its own. This is the layout of what the tutorial will look like. You can see that there's a lot going on. The good news is that we don't have to worry about a lot of it. Funny part is that this isn't even the entirety of the tutorial. This is just one section of it. But the hope is that we can break it down into edible pieces. That way it won't be too overwhelming. And customers, I did with that, lovely. If I scroll into here, what you'll see is this is where we start off. The step 1 of the tutorial is showing the player how to move. So we've added little arrow keys on top, added a little tracker that shows, hey, go to this position here. And we'll add a little spider here, which is her little familiar. You can see right there, waving to say, I want you to make me something. That's the idea behind the tutorial, is that your familiar first wants you to make them a dish before the customer even comes in. So you have to start off by first making your familiar a dish. You learn the controls that way, and then a customer appears, which is why I'm surprised they entered so early. A customer appears, and you have to serve that customer. That's the hope of everything. So now that we have the movement, now that we're able to tell when the player reaches the movement, now we need a way to incorporate and add into the game the calibration, as the calibration was a tricky thing to do, or tricky thing to understand. It's still partially broken, if I'm not mistaken. If it's one thing I can say, just as advice-wise, if you're just getting into game development, I would heed caution with making a rhythm game. There's a lot that goes into it that I didn't know at the time when I started doing it. For example, you have to know how to make music. That's pretty important. And you also have to know about, what's it called, calibration. I thought I could skip calibration. I thought calibration was optional. It technically is, but it doesn't feel good if you make it non-optional, or if it's not there in the game. And right now, as it stands, when player enter the game, some people skip calibration entirely and they go straight into the tutorial. And some people, when they're in the calibration screen, when they start it, as they're playing through it, they think the calibration is done early and leave before it's had time to finish. So what that tells me is that it's incomplete, it's very confusing, and it's not very clear what's going on. So what we'll be tasked with today, it seems, is moving this calibration, or not even moving it, but copying it and pasting it into the game itself, so that we force the player during the tutorial to do the calibration. That way, just in case if the player hasn't done it before, or yeah, and if the player hasn't done it before, everyone starts off on a level playing field. And what isn't partially broken these days, am I right? That's very fair, yeah. Everything breaks. I think it's a game developer know at this point, and making rhythm games is one of my dreams. I have too many dreams. That's understandable, and I'd say if it truly is your dream, now technically speaking, nothing's stopping you. What you could also do, for example, is think to yourself, yeah, I want to make a rhythm game. Maybe you start year 1 of working on it, and it's a 5-year process, and while you're working on your big dream of a rhythm game, maybe in the meantime, you have a lot of small projects that help contribute to working on your rhythm game. So it's not a thing of you have to wait until you know everything about game development to work on your dream game. Maybe it's a thing of you can start on it, start with brainstorming and ideas, and then slowly work your way to making it as you make a few checkpoints along the way. So with that said, we need to add the calibration first off into the game itself, into the tutorial. So let me set that as our goal here. And hi Eska, welcome in the stream, welcome in, and welcome back. Let me go ahead and click on this guy here. Let me enable our little taskbar here. Lovely. Let me go ahead and do a little squiggly line here. I should be able to clear out our taskbar. And then with that said, if I open up our Obsidian here, let me list the tasks that we are about to get started on. I believe I can click the back button here. I can indeed. And we are going to do add calibration to tutorial. Add calibration to tutorial. Calibration, is it spelled with, something feels wrong about that. I would think it has 2 L's, but apparently it's 1. Interesting. And then I'll go ahead and do on here, a little squiggle here, task. And then that should do that. That should add it there. Lovely. And then let me click on this guy right here. And let's see, what is cool about game development is that you can start whenever you want, unlike other professions where you usually have to get hired first. Yeah, that's a fair point too, but I would say though, a lot of professions you don't have to know what you're doing to get started. For example, if you want to become a professional athlete, you don't have to get on a big old team. You could just start off in your backyard. And let's see here, too late to suggest, but moving the calibration above levels button on the main menu wouldn't be that bad of an idea. That's an interesting one. Usually, at least when it comes to muscle memory, I always consider the very top of the screen to be the play button, and then everything else comes after that. I don't think I've ever seen it where the levels exist in the middle, which is an interesting one. Muscle memory tells me it goes at the very top, though muscle memory also tells me that shouldn't say levels, it should instead say play. So that's an interesting one to consider. At some point, we'll have to learn how making saves and everything works with that. And that could be a fun thing of play, load. That could be a lot of fun. And people would think this very important. That's true as well, yeah. The thing is, I think what I'd like to do is I want to hide this calibration unless you go into options. So I'm thinking, when you enter the game, or when you start from the main menu, we have levels, we have options here. And then in levels, you can do the calibration in the tutorial. Otherwise, if the player goes to the, So, this is a new one. I do know for a fact that I want the player to at least do the calibration, but if the player doesn't want to do the calibration, if they just want to go in blind, I also don't want to stop them. So if a player were playing the game and they didn't go into the tutorial, should they be forced to still do the calibration? Or should it be a thing of, hey, you haven't done calibration yet, consider stopping the game for a second and trying to do the calibration? Or should we railroad them into calibration, or should we allow them to go at their own risk? And let's see here. And you don't need hired, but you also, who's thinking how to get a profit? Very true as well, yeah. But the thing is as well, is that at least I know with, what's it called? With Overwatch, at one point I wanted to become a professional Overwatch pro player, so I did a lot of scrims. And at one pointer, if you do enough scrims, see, if you do enough like mini not free tournaments, you eventually can do some paid tournaments and work your way up there to becoming a pro player on the big old screen. Let me go ahead and click on calibration here. Now, the question is, how can we move this guy here and put him in the tutorial? That's what I'm not too sure of, but I think there's a way to go about it. What we can start off by doing is going back into our concept screen here and drag and drop. So I think step 1 is just going to be to move the calibration, and then step 2 is going to be to disable or to hide everything that the player doesn't need to know going into this. So for example here, the main game, or the way the calibration screen already looks is, if I click on escape here and click on the actual pen, hold on, if I go and select you, possibly, will you let me, or do I have to go like here and then select you here? Will you let me select you? And then I want to slide it over and then paste into here. And then I want to grab all of this here. There we go. There we are. Okay. the way the game works naturally is this is the way the screen works. But when you play as a new player, you don't know what's going on. So the hope is that we can slowly breadcrumb feed the player information. For example, here we hide the fail meter since the player doesn't need to know about the fail meter. And we also hide up here the area that shows you how to type out things. So all you get is, at least initially, the same exact letter playing. In this case, it'll be our space or whatever other letter we want to put for the testing or the calibration. And when it lines up here, so all you have to worry about in this screen at the moment is that you see her speaking, you see this meter filling up, and you see this guy going here. That's all the information you get fed in. Hi, Ed, welcome in the stream, welcome in. And maybe you could present the calibration as Gabby's vocal warm-ups. Yes, that's the hope, is at least either vocal warm-ups or she's giving her familiar before work snack before they get started. And welcome in, Ed, welcome into stream. Funny you're in here. Today we're trying to figure out how to give the player information in an understandable way without boring them. And for me, the one difficulty to recognize is skulls of space. Yeah, that's the thing as well, is that I did skulls because a little space icon like this was also hard to see. Or would you read this as, oh, hold on. Would you read this to be a space? Like that there to be space? This was the earlier icon, but then I changed it to skulls since I thought it had matched up. What I'm thinking is we can either go back to being the space icon, and now it's time for some business research. Oh, lovely. We could definitely do this icon here. That would be easy to do. I did skulls because I thought it would be a fun thing to do, but maybe for the sake of clarity, we can make it that space again, possibly. And then I'm wondering, how can we tell the player that you should type space? Because in the game, spaces are represented with underscores. That way you can visibly see where a space is. So on here, they're represented as an underscore, but I think this icon looks more like a space. And me smirking, oh, instructional design, never heard of that. Tell me more. Oh boy, right now we are trying to figure out the tutorial of the game, which is a lot of fun. I like trying to figure out ways to tell and inform the player and explain things without doing walls of text. That's what we're trying to avoid at the moment. Schools don't really read as a space. That's very true, yes. Does this icon, or if you saw that symbol, would you read that symbol as a space compared to everything else? Maybe if it were a bar, for example, if it were a thing of like this guy here and then it had the space button, maybe that would read a space more, but will we be able to really see a little tiny space bar here? That would be my concern. And the thing is as well is that we don't have to worry about the icon at this very moment, but it is something to consider. Or you could get funky with it and somehow integrate the space symbol into a skull sprite. Oh boy, that definitely does sound funky. The thing is, when you're from this distance, and the thing is as well, I know that the game will be even more zoomed in, but the hope is that even from far away, it reads pretty clear. And add a little note, skull equals space will be good enough. The thing is though, I'm wondering, maybe we just have the, what is it called? Have the little spider here go, press space to the beat or something like that. I think that might work, and congratulations on the stream streak, Captain McFriendly, and welcome to this room as well. Welcome in. Let's see. When Eris thinks of a bar, she wants something funky and enormous, and Eris doesn't hang out at Q's chest anymore. She wants to take up space. That's a bad one. That's a good one, but that's a bad one. A very silly one as well. And welcome to stream 2, Fontanian Waters. Welcome in, and welcome back as well. And hello everybody. I hope you're having a good day / night. And I see the redeem as well. How lovely, and welcome in too. And I know, I knew. I'll work on it. Oh boy, I hope you're having a lovely one as well. I think this might be a better idea. Have the spider. So you'll naturally look up here for instructions. And that way, when we remove the spider, you'll instead see the things you're supposed to type out. I think that's a good medium. We don't have a wall of just space text going on here. We just have the spider saying press space when it hits, or press space, something like that. I think would read a little bit better. We don't even say press space to hit so-and-so when it reaches the white circle. We just have here the spider going like press space or something like that. Press space, press space maybe? Press space, S-P-A-C-E, and maybe we can have it wiggle to the thing, so when it gets here, it says press space. I think that could work. And we're like Captain McNewbie. Well, you can be friendly and a beginner as well. And on a serious note, for space bars, the best symbols are open box and the space bracket symbol, so you can design it in a way that matches the game feel. Space brackets? Do you mean something like this, Ed? Like brackets like this? The thing is, some of these symbols do exist in the game, and unless you mean, and I'm guessing that's what you mean by an hurtful but real. Well, the thing is, you've been here many times. I would certainly not call you a newbie. And let's see here. Did I read? I think I did. And space? Yeah, something like that. It is what I'm getting, or what I'm understanding. The thing is, right now, it's a really small token. So it's a little bit hard to have that entire thing there. And even if it were to just be the two brackets on it, that still might not read very well or be understandable. Like if we did that there, I'm not sure that would read quite well. Though then again, Skull doesn't really click, and the hope is that we can remove as much text from this tutorial as possible, because right now we have a slideshow of a tutorial. I do think this reads more as space. Hold on, if I slide over. I do think this one reads more as space. We had a little arrow there, or just brackets. And before beginning with a lot of rambling, the design looks good so far. Thank you, lad. Thank you. That's very kind to hear. And I was here before breathe was her name. Cool that Eris realizes human beings need to breathe at sometimes. Breathing, who needs that? Only if it's manual. Oh boy. I do like the skull, just because it fits in with the game. But I do think the second one reads clearer as space. And plus one, humanity and hydration.
Check
Speaking
14,
of things
just
that need to be done,
hydrate.
I surely can do a little bit of hydration. Let me grab that water here. Tasty, and welcome into stream, Jake Bob Cube. Welcome in as well, and welcome back. And not gonna lie, the skull's cool, but I imagine as a player that ignores the tutorial, the first response to the skull is do not press anything or die. That's a good, yeah, that's a very fair point, is that when people read skull, they read death. They read do nothing. That's 100% understandable. The idea behind the skull is that we're playing as a necromancer, so the skull was just an ode to that. But skull, yeah, skulls usually are a symbol of death. And what do you mean we have to breathe on that stream? I didn't sign up for physical activities. Do you have a nurse's note and glasses toggle? Sure can do. Hold on, let me get that clock here. There we are. Get the clock. Get the 10 minutes out, and that means no more big brain for the next 10 minutes. And the clock starts now. I would say thank you for that routine, but I liked my big brain glasses. Oh my. With that said, for now, let's just work on adding the calibration into the game, and then we can kind of toggle on the areas that we want on and off and go from there. I think just step one is once you get to the back of the, once you get back here behind the desk, it prompts you with holding Q or something like that. I think that works. The thing is, I do like the adding a story aspect into it. Right now we have a little tutorial bar at the bottom, but that's for debugging. We're going to eventually remove that debugger. So this guy here that tells you what to do, it's not going to be in the game anymore. That's just going to be so I can see where the task is at or where the task manager is at. I would like to add a little spider here that just tells you what's going on. For example, Gabby, can you make me something before you start? And there's a conversation that goes like that. I think that could work out better. The thing is, and the other day I did see it as well, a video talking about tutorials and the idea that you're wasting the player's energy reading things before you even get to play. So it makes me wonder, should we even add that kind of back and forth here? Or rather, should we do it so that you don't have to press E to continue? Maybe it's just a thing of the text appearing and you're able to move around. I think that might work a little bit better. That way it's not you're not frozen in space and have to go with the tutorial. You can speed run it and the spider will understand that. And removing info dumping, always good. Yeah, 100%. That's the thing, is that right now, temporarily at least, it's a slideshow of instructions since that was a placeholder. So I'm hoping this guy will stick around a little bit more. So for now, I'm thinking, let's start off by just having this guy prompt the player when they're back here for the tutorial and figuring out how to add the tutorial as its own spell. It is in the game already as that, but I don't think it's in there as clearly as implemented. So let's go back into this screen here. Let me click on this guy right back here. And if we go into our calibration here, so our calibration screen, that's this guy here. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to be tasked with adding this screen into the game screen itself, since I separated everything by screens in hopes of making it easier to add or remove. If we, let's see, in this calibration screen here, we also have the mini game as well. And there should be, for example, I believe, a calibration, a calibration mini game going on in it, so it's its own song and spell. So if we go into here and we go into our calibration screen, what are we seeing? We know that we have a spellcasting minigame, and then we have on here, on start pressed, we have enter calibration, exit calibration. And if we click on enter calibration, what are we seeing here? For enter calibration, yes, it has its own maps, notes, and spells, which means I can customize calibration, and I don't even have to have the calibration show up as, for example, like a space or something. And what I'm wondering is as well, in our calibration text here, let's just try dragging and dropping it already into the game itself. I think that would be a good idea. So let's go back into the cafe here. What we'll want to do is that if it is a tutorial, we'll have, or rather, let's see, we need to have a way for the player not to be able to pick up objects, just to disable interacting with the E button. And what I'm thinking is, and let me go back into here just to make sure I'm writing things out and not forgetting any step in it. What I think we should do is we should have empty, or not empty, but invisible. So hiding, invisible, INVIS, INVIS. Invis, we're going to need invis objects. So invis objects, JECTS. Invisible objects that allow us to show that we can start and click on play and start. So I'm thinking we need invisible objects, and then we need a way to see that if this is a tutorial level, play the calibration. So I'm thinking we need invisible objects to prompt the player. We also need to disable, so DISABLE, disable, so the player can't pick up the objects. So disable interact until we're ready for the player to use it. So hold on, let's see, hold on, RACT. We need to disable the interaction button of the player so that they can't, for example, go to the bookshelf or pick up the invisible objects. So all they can see when they come over here is they see a little Q button that says hold Q to start, something like that. I think that reads well. And then with that, and you can't really survive in space, so a deadly death, or so a death symbol makes a smidge of a backward sense. And what do you mean? I did read that as well. Lovely. And removing, I did read that too. And survive in space, so a death symbol makes a smidge of a backward sense. And to really survive in space. Oh, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. Let's see here. We disable the interact button. We hide the objects, invisible objects. And then on time, or on first spellcast. So on spellcast start, on spellcast start, on spellcast start, on start, on start, START, on start, START, on start, comma, play calibration, PLLAY, play, and then we have CALI, and then we have CALI, BRATION. There we are. I think these are the things we'll have to do. We'll have to make it so that the player can go up to the area to start a spell casting, but they can't pick up the objects to stop it. And if I bring you back in here, let me show you what I mean. And hi, Rodrigo. Welcome, Mystery. Welcome in. And welcome back as well. And one way to make a tutorial compromise of text, not a nuisance, is making the player's enemies / targets dropping vulnerable information. For example, the goal saying, oh boy, I could go for it. Oh boy. The thing is, I felt those before. It's like where a player or where a character walks up to a door and they think to myself, I can't go past there yet, or I need a key, or you keep trying to interact with it and I need a key. Oh boy, let me click on that there. It feels very cheesy, but it's effective, so I can't complain too much. What I'm thinking here is that if I close this guy, step 1, we hide the objects so that you can't see them, but you also can't pick them up, because if you pick them up, that disables the hold Q. So we need to hide the objects, and we also need to disable the pick up option. So let's start there. Let's start off by disabling the interact button. And with that said, let me also go ahead and add that to the task then. I'd say it's easy enough to add, but just to make sure I don't forget, let me also add it on here. DISABLEINTERACT BUTTON and items. Hide items. There we go. And then, just to make sure we don't run out of things, let me go into squiggle line task here, and we'll do that there. And then if I also do a little squiggle line here, let's see if this is effective. Squiggle line task. There we go. It should put on both on the screen, though I don't know. And hi, Munglo. Oh, I see it. Got a shout out. Hold on. Let me do this task here. Task, and then that there. And then we do that there. Does that work? I think it should. Lovely. And I don't think they're here. I think they're streaming. But thank you for the shout out. And hold on. I also want to click on this guy here so I can have that on open in the background to check a little bit later. So that's very kind of them. Let me click on this guy here. So let's start off by just hiding the items. So in the game, how I have it right now is that in our level, so if I go in here into our level data, I should have a little guy here that has, let's see, enable new book, enable all cheats. If we go into our tutorial level here, and what do you use to make that to-do list? It is a plugin I found. Well, not a plugin, but a thingamajiggy I found. I'm not sure if you're, what's it called? I'm not sure if you're on the Discord, Ray, but I should be able to link it to you if I can find it. It's been a second or two, but I do like the little tattoo. I think it's quite cute. Let's see. If I click on here, tutorial level, we have the tutorial saved as a resource, and what you can see is that we have enable UI, show debug, we have enable new book, enable all cheats, we have also enable test table. And so what I'm thinking is, if we enable test table, and we also, let's just add a cheat that says enable test table, or we could say enable calibration table. How about that? Or something of the sorts where we say is tutorial, and we could have a thing for start calibration. So if our bool is start calibration, then we take our test table and then we modify it. That's what I'm thinking at least. But then the question becomes, if we have on here enable test table, and then we also have on here is tutorial. So what I'm thinking is possibly, and this is why I'm not too sure about it, if we have is tutorial and we have if we have enable test table on, so if we have both of these on, maybe we should just say do the calibration. But what if I want to solely try out the calibration or do something else with the tutorial? And this could just be me trying to future-proof. And I'm on Discord, minded to just secret. I see. If I can be reminded to, I can see about linking it post-stream, as I do have it somewhere, but I have to go find it, and that would take a little bit of time. But thank you for asking. And ads coming in soon, speaking of. Oh my. I'm wondering, should the calibration menu, or you know what? I think that's fine. If it is tutorial, we automatically have the calibration guy there. I think that's a good idea. We disable the enable test table if there is a tutorial. So let's start off by just allowing those guys to be invisible and not interactable. So what we'll do is on our player, so on our player here, we'll have the player, this script here. This entire script controls the player. At some point, I do want to make it into smaller chunks, but for right now, it's its own script. So everything that belongs to the player goes here. And in our player, we should have one called, let's see, input, I believe, possibly. Let's see. Yes. And we have, if not input is just released whole interact. So this button here, as our 10-minute timer's up, so no, big brain glasses are back on. Thank you again for that redeem, Ed. What you'll see here is that if it's not interact, so what I'm thinking is, if it's not interact or can't interact. So let's see, or can interact, or not can interact, or not can _INTRICT. I think that's a good idea. So if we press the button, or not, we can't interact. As in, if can interact is not enabled. So if we go ahead and go back over to here, we go into our bool area, should be around here somewhere, unless the player doesn't have any bools. Oh no, here we have it, allow movement. We also have here now a new guy, and it's going to be a var. Actually, you know, let's just do this here, and let's just do this. There we are. And then we'll call this guy here, and we'll say allows the player to use the INTRICT, interact key. Which means now that if we enable this to false upon if it is a tutorial, this should hopefully allow us so that we can't do things until we enable the player to be able to do so. And maybe we just have a cheat key that has an enable interact button. So we can have like an enable disable interact button. That will take care of the other things too. So that said, upon our ready, we have our, let's see, allow player movement, let's see, controls updated, we have player enter spellcasting. I believe this should be good to go. We just need to have a way to check to see when the game starts if the player can interact. Though I'm wondering, maybe we can just go to our cafe here where we do the setting up of everything. So this script here controls how the tutorial at least starts and gives all the signals to say, hey, this has been initialized, or hey, this thing should do things. So we have here, for example, set settings based on cheats. So what I'm wondering is, if we just grab this guy, since this prints when everything else has been added, if we add that guy, and if we go back into our player, if we go back into our player here, we go back into our player code, what we then can do is we can do this guy here. We can then connect it. So connect it, CONNECT, and then we can say, for a function here, what I'm thinking is function, and then we have set, let's see, set level status, STATUS, set level status. We can then make this a void function. So we'll do a little arrow here and do void, VOID, void here, and then we'll do pass, and then we'll grab this guy here to connect, and then we'll do you here, you there. There we are. And then on here, what we can say is that if the utility dot level, no, not utility, we do cookbook dot level data. Let's see, level data, or is it current, or let's see, current. How do you describe a cookbook? Hold on, let's see. You are called, or did I move you? Oh, I think I I moved you? You've been moved out of cookbook. I see. In that case, that means that you are now, I'm guessing, in cafe. If we go cafe here, you should have some sort of level data. Yeah, we have set level data up here, and then we have level data, and then we have utility.current level data. I see. Interesting. Okay. This is saying, at the very least, utility current level data. This is what we're looking for. So if we go back to our player here, so go back to the player script right about here. Cookbook. We're not looking for cookbook. We're looking for the bigger guy, which is utility. It's a global script I have. And add a break. Hold on, Bobby. Hold on. Utility, and then it's going to be utility.current level data. And then we say dot, and then we say is tutorial. Then we can go ahead and set our movement. So can interact equals. And then we say you here can interact equals. And then we say not that. There we are. So can interact equals the opposite. So if it's not a tutorial, then we can interact. If it is a tutorial, then we can't interact. That goes there, and then we're good. And now we enable the to think about Jiggy. Oh boy, I think this will work out at least temporarily. And then we can have like a thing that says, hey, player is unable to interact. Or we can even have it on screen say something of the sorts. That way we can say, well, if we can't interact, then so on and so forth. Or you know what we can say? We could add a notifier into the game that says, the player can't interact with this. It has been disabled. I like that approach a lot better. I think we add a message that lets the player know that, or lets well, I say player, but it'll appear down here that says, hey, the player can't interact with this thing. It isn't disabled. I like the sound of that a lot more. So let me go ahead and get some tea while we're waiting on the ad break. We'll do some stretches as well. We'll sit here and if it's stupid but works fine enough, it's not stupid. Oh boy, that's the thing. If it works, it works. I can't complain at all, especially since, what is it? And purple. My congratulations on your 30 stream streak, Lazy Loaf, and congratulations on your 5 stream streak as well, Rodrigo. Welcome in the stream to both of you again. And thank you for the follow as well, Ahmed. Thank you, and welcome in. You caught us a little bit of an awkward time as we're waiting on the ad break, but welcome in regardless. I hope you've had a lovely day, or afternoon, or evening, or good night, or whatever the time zone says it should be. Welcome in all the same. Let me go ahead and slide this guy here, dismiss this guy right here, and I believe we should be good. Lovely. With that said, let me go ahead and get a little bit more tea here. We'll do some stretches while we're waiting on the ad break, and then when we come back, we shall continue. So let me go ahead and click on Let's see. If I click on you there, we should also be able to enable that there. Lovely. I believe we should be a-okay and good to go. With that said, let's do some stretches while we're waiting for everything, shall we? Let me go ahead and go to the right here a little bit. And then let's go to the left here a little bit. Make sure to do these slowly if you're doing them. But if you do them, I should not be held liable for what happens. Call a doctor, call a lawyer, don't call me. It's not my fault if something breaks or cracks. Let's then go to the back here a little bit slowly but surely. And then let's go into the front a little bit here. There we go. And then let's do some next stretches since we have about 55 seconds left before the ads are back. Feels like I can't enunciate properly today. Let's go ahead and go to the left. And what if something explodes? Then call a demolition or call a demo man. Asking for a friend. I'm still not the professional qualified. Oh boy, it's gonna be left here a little bit and crack. Oh boy, left, and then we can also go to the right a little bit here. And then we can also go, let's see. Well, but this is always my favorite neck stretch. I feel like I always get the most stretching out of this right here. And the good news is that nothing breaks, but it definitely feels like it's being used, which is good. I don't think necks are supposed to stay here for long, but it's good to make sure you keep your range in motion. Otherwise, you use it or lose it. With that said, we have about ad breaks are up. So welcome. My head fell off. How are you still able to type, Lazy Loaf? Are you saying you're a zombie and healed? Welcome back from the ad breaks. Shall we continue then? I was saying how I think it would be a great idea to add some sort of notifier to the player to say, hey, we can't interact because it's disabled. I like that medium a lot better. So we go to input here and don't use it. Don't need to look down. I'm a blind typer. You know what? Fair enough. I can say that too. At some point, you can just close your eyes and type very easily. Fair off, and their head fell off. Not hands, silly, but how are you able to move around? That's the thing. How can you think with it? And we could go, just start stretching again, and crunchy sounds everywhere. Oh, I bet. Oh, I bet. And a Necromancer resurrects them. And well, I gotta sleep. No worries at all, Fountainian Waters. Thank you for stopping by to say hi. And I hope you have a lovely, well-deserved rest as well. And night, Fountainian, indeed. And I am Bread. Bread doesn't have a head, though. They don't have a head. Let me go ahead, and we will copy here. And then we'll say, if it's not interact, return. Otherwise, we'll then say, if not, and then we'll say you there. If not can interact, then we're also going to return, but we're going to instead also have here a message. So we're going to say here a utility, and then we'll say utility dot, and then we'll say print debug message. And then we're going to say here, as we're going to say, can't interact, the player can't, I-N-T-E-R-I-C-T, the player can't interact. It has been, D-I-S-A-B-L-E-D, it has been disabled. And then here, what we'll say is we'll do self for the print, and then we'll also say the color and the utility dot debug color. The color I want to set it to is I'm going to be the color of warning. Warning, there we go. It should be like a red message. So, let's see if it does do the thing. If I click on play here, and delusion intolerance in broad daylight, and you're being bred as spreadism, and our chickens discriminated. Hold on now, chickens are the same as bread. That's entirely different. Oh boy, if we go into levels here, and we go into our tutorial, it should be disabled our interact key. So if I go up to, for example, here, the trash can, the player can't interact. It has been disabled. Can you see the little red guy there, the little warning sign? Though, we do have to modify this. Apparently, we can interact with things still, which is unfortunate. We don't want to be able to interact with, for example, the desk here, or this guy here. So we'll have to disable that to make sure that the player can't interact. So, let's go ahead to the bookshelf, shall we? And make sure that the player can't interact there. Bookshelf. The bookshelf exists. Let's see. Bookshelf, it would be this guy right here. This is our bookshelf. We need to make sure that this bookshelf won't take it when the player can interact. So what I'm thinking is, we'll probably have to check everywhere that we say, hey, did the player on event if action is pressed interact? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do Control-Shift-F, and then we'll do a find everywhere. So, it seems to be the case that the player only interacts with the bookshelf. Surprisingly, but this doesn't make sense. There's gotta be another place where the player interacts, I think, possibly. And, chickens are better than bread? Hold on now, I didn't say any of that. And eat more chicken, and well, they are tastier. Hold on now. Why can't we have both? Both is good, but they taste better together. Exactly! Both is good. A chicken sandwich, oh man, don't get me started, they're delicious. What we'll do here is if interaction is just or and not, and then we'll say utility dot player, so dot player, because we do have the player as a universal object, and not utility dot player can interact. So if the player can't interact, so let's see, and can interact. Actually, hold on, and utility dot player can interact. Open. Otherwise, don't do anything because the player can't interact. So we'll click on that there. And I'll sleep, no worries at all, Ray. Thanks for stopping by and chatting for a little bit. I hope you also have a lovely rest, regardless of the time zone, and that it is well-deserved as holiday. Is that a bread hole sitting a knife? You know, in this case, the bread would say, you're toast. Let's go back into the tutorial here, and then nice to meet you. That's a good one too. If we click on you burned that one. Oh boy. If we click here, you'll see the player can't interact. It has been disabled. The player can interact. It has been disabled. So the good news is now that the player can't interact with anything. This is what we wanted. Now what we need to do is we need to enable the, what is it called? We need to enable the objects on the table if this is a tutorial level. So what we can go ahead and say is that in our tutorial resource, so this guy here, our tutorial, let's see, profiles here, tutorial level. For this, what we have to do is just click enable test table, and then if we click play here, we should now have all the objects of the table, but we shouldn't be able to pick them up. And hi, Count Carlson, welcome, Mystery, welcome in. RPG Maker, that's a new one. I have heard of it before, but I've never tried it out. Godot's been the only engine I've tried before, but that's good to hear that the process at least sounds pretty similar. That must be I'm doing something pretty good, and she's really crumbling right now. Oh boy, I've got a croton of ideas. That was just bad. That was very bad.
Check 14 just redeemed. Do a voice
I
/
don't
act
think
for
I
5
enough
minutes.
talk. I definitely
Muffled
can't
voice
do
greater than.
I don't know if I can allow the muffled voice. It's kind of like doing the mime voice. That would be like saying silence. Is a muffled voice is non-legible. I don't know if that one should be allowed. That one's a little. The whispered voice, I think so, but it would have to be. I think, yeah, the muffled voice might be just at the line of a non-plausible one to do. Hold on here. No silent voices. I would say, check, that the silent voice would count as a muffled voice. Scam? Not at all, as I can refund you. Hold on, let me go back into, let's see. If I click on, oh no, where's the button at? If I click on you here, I think, hold on, and then do, nope, hold on. If I click on, nope, never mind. I don't know these buttons. If I click on you here, nope, that's not it there. And no, do the whisper. Whisper can work. Whisper can work. It very much work. That. All right. So where were we in doing all of this? Let me hold on. Grab the 5 minutes. If I go ahead and do you here, grab you here. We do spare timer. Let's see. So in 5 minutes, we do then our challenge timer here, like so. Click on you here, go back into our challenge here, and a professional streamer, I mean, let's see. Here we do voice, let's see, whisper, it shakes his head, that totally exists. Oh boy, click on this guy here, and if I click on this guy here, we should now, hold on, if I enable, disable you, are we good to go? Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and continue what we were just up to. I'm already realizing this is going to be very hard to do just a quiet whisper voice. It said nothing about whisper laugh. Wow, is the microphone not picking it up? I'm trying very hard. This is a challenge. Now that the buttons, now that we can't pick up the objects anymore, we should be able to now go ahead and make it so that the items are now hidden when we enable it. So what I'm going to do is that if it is a tutorial, if it is a test table or something, we need to have a way to disable or enable the objects. And very relaxing. I am not relaxed. Does this sound like relaxed to you? And what I'm thinking is we probably can have a button or some sort that has a disable, and she sounds like a normal person. I don't like it. Music man, and what is she saying? Chocolate. What we're going to do is, I'm thinking in our cafe at least, or somewhere in here where we have the table, we can set it to be disable or hide or show some sort of object. So I'm thinking in our spellcasting desk here, where we spawn in the objects, remove the objects, we can have a command that has, instead of delete, for example here, we can just have a hide or show. And it kind of feels like when my homie's trying to start a joke. Oh boy. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to have a function, I think, here in the spellcasting desk that says to hide all of the objects it has and to show all the objects it has. I think that's a good medium. So we'll have here a function, we'll call it hide objects or hide items here. And then we'll also have a function here for show items. So we'll do void here, and then we'll do hide items, we'll have a pass, and then we'll have show items. And then lastly, what we have to do is just go through every plate and click hide or show. And hi, Fodder Dev. Welcome in the stream. Welcome in, and thank you for the follow. You caught me in a bit of a hard time at the moment as I'm struggling to do this thing, but I assure you the stream's not usually like this. Sounds like you're having fun. I'm struggling very hard. but I hope the routine has been good. With that said, we have a hide here, we also have a show here, and then we just have to connect these with a signal. And I'm not sure exactly how we call the plates here. We have a plate list of no 2D, so we just have to go through all of the plates here. We have plate to item. So what I'm thinking is we just have a 4 plate to item, and we go through each, and if it has a plate or however many plates. So if we go ahead and we go back to our hide and show, or where are we at with hide and show? Here we go. Hide item, show items. What we have to do here is do 4, and then we do 4 plate. So what we say is 4 plate and plate to item. That's not plate. PLATE for plate in, and then we go ahead and click on these 2 buttons here. Let's see. for plate and plate to items, what we can then do is say, have this guy here. So for plate and plate to items, we grab this guy and, oh, hold on, that guy needs to not be indented. We need to grab the plate or the item from the plate. So for plate and plate to items, we make sure it's set to plate. Then we set that plate dot visibility. So visibility here dot visible.
The underscore
equals,
Whitechapel just redeemed hydrate.
Hydration sure can do one. Whisper, whisper, and a game that relaxes after 2 break stream. I'm not relaxing. You call this relaxing? I call it suffering in silence. I can do a hydrate reading though, sure thing. Hydration has been done. Thank you for that redeem. So let's see here. I want to set this guy for false, and truth be told, I'm kind of thinking that we can set it to one function here or do something of the sorts. I do like the way, or didn't you sound relaxed? Do I? That's no good. Let's do a func, and then let's do function here. Let's do set visibility. So function set underscore visibility. I like that a lot better. And then let's do set and then call it item visibility. Item visibility, because I don't like the way this reads. So what I'm thinking is, what we do is do show. So we'll do a bool here and we'll call it do underscore show. So do show, and then we'll set it to a bool. And then we'll also set this to a void function. And now instead of hide or show, we can just do show here, set that there. And anytime we want to hide and show, instead of doing 2 different functions, we can just have this single one here and call it with a signal. And Air's falling asleep to her own, and then another hour. Ah! Oh my. And with that said, we have set invisible, and then we also have the enable and disable. Now we just need an anti-ASMR in 20 seconds. Let's go ahead and copy this guy then, and with all of that said, once the timer reaches out excitedly, now that I'm free and everything, embrace your ears! Hold on now. I'm not about to give you whiplash. I would never do such a thing. Oh boy, what I was trying to say before I had to speak quietly was that I wanted to set up a signal. So some sort of signal like a utility dot, and then we have this guy here. So set item visibility, and then we have, let's see, set item visibility, and then we have set spellcasting table item visibility. So set spellcasting table, so set spellcasting, spellcasting underscore table underscore item underscore visibility. So item here, item visibility, and then we connect it. So dot connection, connect it with this guy here, paste that guy there. There we are. And now we just need to make sure that it is a signal and that we sync it up. And otherwise the whole time waiting for the timer to end. I was waiting for my freedom. I'm glad to have it now. It's nice. It's nice. It's nice to be able to project my voice in the way I had hoped and desired. And going quiet didn't mean you could go fast. You just couldn't get to your op speed. The thing is, I go fast because I get excited. And when I get excited, I get loud. So in order to make sure I don't get excited, I have to condense it and make sure I focus on staying quiet instead of trying to speak regularly. It's very hard. I have to focus on 2 things. I can't, exactly. Can't do one without the other. Yup. Oh boy. With that said, now that we're up here, menu signals, item signals, let's go ahead and have a signal here. Signal, and then we'll have signal set spellcasting table item visibility. We'll have a do show, and then we'll have a bool here, so bool. And with that said, now anywhere we want to set the item visibility, we can do it here. And what I'm thinking is, do we want to have a single bool that says to hide the items initially or show the items? That's what I'm not too sure about, and that's why when you increase our brain falls, the system breaks. Indeed, I can only be set to do one task at a time. And then I think about it, a speedy whisper would just be Oh boy. We'll copy this guy here, go back to our spellcasting desk. And what I'm thinking is, we just again add a guy that syncs for whenever the cafe sends out the signals. So for example, here in our cafe, if we go up to here, there should be a guy that says like .emit. So we have initialize managers, we have this guy here, spell select options. So again, what we can do is copy this guy here, go back over to our spellcasting desk here, and let's just link them up. And now that I think about it, oh, I did that, lovely. So here, what we'll do is we'll do a utility dot, we'll click on that guy there. Oh, hold on, never mind. We don't even have to type out utility. We just have to do a .connect. And then like with the player, what we'll have done is we'll have a player. And what this is also making me think is maybe each class by default, or I say each class, but imagine at least for a few of them. We can't do it for this one since it's a Node 2D, but I imagine we could do like, for example, a virtual, or it wouldn't be virtual. It would just be a function you override. And hold on, my throat, give me a second. We're good to go. I initially thought you'd be able to do like an override function or something else. That way we wouldn't have to copy and paste different functions. So maybe we would just, I don't know. I don't like the idea of just copying and pasting this function everywhere, but I also don't know how we would make it one singular function. For example, this here right now is our set level stats, depending on that thing. And we would just copy and paste this, but I don't want to keep doing that every single time I want something to depend on something else. So that's why I'm not sure how exactly I'd like to do it. For now, I'm thinking this, but I like to keep to the rule of 3. So if this happens a third time, at that point we might just have to tear things down. And if I remember correctly, and if I theoretically redeem a voice right before the regular pitch, the voice would theoretically apply to the pitch, asking for a theoretical friend. The thing is, I could say I do, and I don't know if it's there underneath the pitch. As I believe we came to the consensus that they don't stack, though I would agree to a voice for the pitch. I think we've done that before for pirate. It's just can't say mix with pitch. I already have 45 seconds to speak, and I already have to think of what to say for the 45 seconds, so now it's to think of what to say and what not to say. But if it's just think of what to say in this voice, I think that's plausible. I think that's doable. If it's not there already in the, what's it called, the fine print, I could certainly add that on there. The thing is, certain combinations don't work well together, but doing like a Valley Girl voice for the pitch, I think that's doable. I think that's certainly doable. And okay, good. I'm glad I answered your question. Let's see. If I undo this guy here. Okay, initialized plates was the only guy here. So let me just go ahead and remove you here. Remove that guy here. And hi, a vicious mind. Welcome into stream. And thank you for the follow. What an interesting name. Welcome into stream. Let's see here. If I click on you here, click on you here. We click on all of these guys right along here. Remove this guy here too. Now in our set level status, what we can say is that if the utility current level data is tutorial, then, or rather, hold on. If it is this guy here, what we can just do is our function. So our show, or let's see, show behind parent, I believe, what do we call it? Let's see. I believe it was set item visibility. So set item visibility, yes. So here what we need to do is that if it is not the tutorial, then the visibility should be set to true. If it is a tutorial, visibility should be set to false. I think that is a good medium is the best way to describe it. So if we click on play now, hopefully if I did our bulls right, if not, we could always just try to type it out a little bit more. But when I click into levels, we shouldn't see the items, but the items should still exist in the game. They're just invisible. So if I click on you here, invisible, but the items exist. And the reason why we want the items to be there even though we can't see it is because if we go to the desk, I can now spellcast, but I can't pick up the items, I can't drop the items, but the items exist in our minds, in our heart and soul. And the good news now is that the only option the player has, the only option they can do now is hold Q. And once they're prompted with hold Q, when they start the minigame, that's when the calibration screen pops up. So this is where now we add the calibration screen. As you can see, it's a little broken at the moment. That's okay, we all have our flaws. But the good news is we're moving in a good direction. So you know what, I'll take it. I'll happily take it. So with that said, let me grab our tutorial here. Let me go ahead and copy you here. We can go ahead and do squiggly line done here for that guy there. And then we can also do, let's see if I grab this guy here. And we do a little squiggly line done as here as well. Lovely. So those guys are good to go. They have been completed, which just means now we have the added calibration to tutorial existing again. Before we do that, let me also make sure I make a backup here. So let's see, we have disabled, 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 interact, disabled interact plus hid table, hid, hide. Hold on. Is HIDE still hid? Or it's not HID, right? Hold on. What's the past tense of hide? I know it's hid, but how do you spell it? Past tense, I wrote paste. Past tense of hide. It's HID? Okay, hid. HID. Got ya. Hid table. There we go. Okay, click commit and hid. And what's a little broken thing to do to a current academy? Oh boy, sometimes the thing is, the more you say a word, the more times it feels like it's not even a word anymore. Hide's a good one, hit's a good one. What was another word that was just, I can't even remember, but if I can recall what the word was, it was one word on here that the more I said it, the more it didn't feel like a real word. And hidden, that's it's past tense, or really, really past tense, like a past action. There we are. You've hidden something rather than hide. So it's a little different, but yes, HID. HID was the one I was looking for. Thank you, Banafi. Let me go ahead and save this one here. And now what we can do is now we need to enable the, what's it called? Enable the calibration when we start the game in tutorial. Hidden instant, oh, hold on now. Hold on now. We don't need to go that deep. There's a reason I stopped doing English classes. Adjectives, subjects, verbs, nouns. Nope, don't want any of that. No, thank you. Don't want it. 4th grade lingo. Oh, well, that's deep. Is also an adjective. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let me go ahead and click on here. We are doing the calibration, which means we need to do our mini game. I'm not sure those big brain glasses are working. Well, hold on here. It's not for English, it's for programming. And that's the difference, that these glasses aren't for everything. They're not a one size fits all. And Eris diagram those sentences, I believe in you. Thanks. Oh boy. Let's go ahead here. And what I want to do is for our spellcasting screen, there does exist a tutorial already, or is that just our, we have this little guy. We don't need him anymore. That's good news. We initially had this guy as temporary and you would be able to click on the buttons to go past them. Truth be told, we can delete this, technically speaking, because this is the type of tutorial I don't want. I don't want a slideshow. This was here temporarily to get the point across of what the player should do, but the hope is that no more slideshow. So, I should just be able to delete this. I don't know how I feel about it. I know it was temporary, but it wasn't temporary in my heart. Okay, let's go ahead and delete it then. Spellcasting tutorial, delete. Yep, goodbye spellcasting tutorial. You were helpful for the moment. And then the spellcasting tutorial here. Yep, all of these assets right here. You can all get deleted. I shouldn't need any of you anymore. You were good for the moment. You were here where you needed to be, when you needed to be. Let me go ahead and also delete you here. We even have the little screenshots that we initially had. Oh boy, okay, let's go ahead and delete that. Delete, and let's see what breaks now that we've deleted everything. We have that guy there. It has now been removed. And tutorial no longer exists. Please save a new save location. Nope, no more saving. Nope, don't save. It no longer exists in the game. We don't speak of it anymore. Save that guy there, close that guy there. And now, in our cafe, who broke? Who's angry? Who wants to say a little bit of something about a spellcasting tutorial? If I go into here and do Control-Shift-F and we do spellcasting to Tutorial, I believe that's how you said it. Find here. Where do we reference it at? Let me double check here as well. And I don't want to delete you, Eris, after reworking the thing since the start of the year. The thing is, it feels a little weird to just, and that's the thing too, I think, is the knowledge of saying, yes, this is prototype. I know I'm going to delete this in the future, and yet still somehow getting attached to it and think, yes, I remember writing this back in my day, back in the early months of development here. The truth be told, I think the biggest thing of not wanting to delete, hold on here, is this script. I have not refactored it since the almost 2 years of development. So this is the biggest thing that will definitely have to have a lot of it deleted. A lot of old code lives here at the moment, but this is the only spot that has not been refactored. Let me go ahead now. And with all of that said, I'm curious to see what happens when we try to start the game mode if the guy's already deleted. What does it say? What does it do? Now that that guy's been taken out of place, we go, oh, hold on. We go here, we hold down Q. Yes, indeedy. Nothing breaks. Interesting. The game just starts. Interesting. Okay, well, let's get to here. In that case, now what we need to do is we need to check to see if it is a tutorial when the player starts play. So player here, this guy here, what we can see and do is on input here, I believe. Yes, indeed. So if input is held, all of these guys here, we have current game status, spellcasting, return. We're looking for the holding input, and if it's hold, we have the reset hold timer, and we go here, let's see, spellcasting stop. We have charge spellcasting meter here. We have all of these guys here, and this is what's responsible for having that Q hover above, and reworking that spot's gonna unleash some ancient Egyptian curse of Ra, or something. I don't want to be here when that happens. Let's delay a little bit for that. Oh boy. What we see here is that we have show tutorial, and show tutorial right here. So now what we can say is that if first time doing action, so all of this here is also dead now, technically speaking. This is checking to see if we have if the current level is a tutorial. And well, you know what, truth be told, I do think that if the current level data is tutorial, and if it's also our first time of doing the tutorial, I think this is okay. I think it's fine to leave this as is here for now, at the very least. The thing is, this action is not linked to anything. It's not bound to anything. These actions exist here because they had a, what is it called? I had a task system. So the actions existed on the side, but I removed all of those nodes, so they don't link to anything. The hope was that I would be able to disconnect them and then reconnect them, though we haven't done that yet. So that's why I'm not sure if we should just really delete it at the moment. We might need it, and I'm thinking, at least for now, if it's dead code, let it be dead code. Go back and redo everything. Make sure that everything works, and then take some time to refactor. I think that's a better plan than deleting as we go, since I don't know what we need, and it might be the case of if I delete something now, we might have to reconnect it in the future. So I think for now, at least, keep it here. Just keep it where it is. So we have here the meter's full and show the tutorial. Starts the spellcasting countdown timer. We have the spellcasting start meter, all of these guys here. And if show tutorial, all of these guys here, we have emit start spellcasting tutorial. For example here, I don't think the sky is going to link to anything. Yeah, you can see it emits, but there's no connect. It is a dead signal. And I even have a plugin here called Signal Visualizers. I still don't know how it works. The hope was that it allowed me to see all of the things bound together and bind it. And the hope was to make things easier to see. And oh, there we are. Look at that. It looks cool. I don't know how to use it yet though, but the hope was that, hold on, generate graph. Is there a way to like organize this? Ah, look at that. I do think this is helpful for information because it also lets you see all of the signals and which guys are connected and which guys aren't connected. I do think it would be a good idea to add this into my workflow as it seems like something handy. And I do know that as well, the other day I found a, I found a plugin that also lets you connect all the nodes and tutorials together. Let me see, do I have the plugin at all pulled up? And I can show you what I mean, as I think it's cool. The thing is, it doesn't do it automatically, so you have to set it up on your own. But all in all, regardless of the fact, I do think it's a well-worthy investment to, for example, spend a few days trying to modify this. Let me bring you into this guy right here. And this is the thing I'm looking at. And I can also, for those that are curious, I can link it, I believe, here. And then I can also link it in. Let's see. I can link it here. And I can also link it here that way. There we go, if you're curious. And I'm thinking this could be a handy plugin because it allows you to connect things and show the different relationships of everything. So it's handy, maybe not this moment, but I do like how it also has all of the bools and you can check things on and off and know what's going on and see the relationships of things. So at some point, I do want to organize the system of my game to allow me to see it in a big screen like this. Because right now, the way I'm organizing my game is through Obsidian. And if I bring you to Obsidian here, as we're going along in this thing, right now, the way I have my project set up is I have little excerpts of information depending on what objects are and how I define them. And while I do like the idea of this, it definitely feels, I'm more of a visual person, so having a lot of text here, I don't quite like. I tried my best to, for example, here you can see on the side, if I just very quickly hide this guy, I have it also hide you apparently since you're broken. You can see I have colors here as well as little icons because I like the way that looks. And I like how having icons and colors, and you can see even here, I have a little icon for trash, plate, bookshelf, and the hope was that this would explain everything. We can even have a little icon here again. And the hope was that I would have an explanation, but I like the idea of having nodes that you can drag and drop a lot easier. It's why, for example, in my game, in my ideas table, for example, we have this guy here, and it allows me to just drag and drop different areas so I can see things. This reads a lot clearer to me than having a list like this guy here. So the hope is, I'm hoping, at least, maybe not now, maybe not even next week, but sometime to see if I like using that plugin. Let me go back into this guy here. And let us go ahead and continue. So with all of that said, with that idea of having some useful systems going on in the future, if we go ahead and go back to our output guy here, what I wanted to see about was this guy is disconnected. So our start spellcasting tutorial emit, we don't need you anymore. We don't at all. What we can instead say, and I'm thinking as well, this here first time doing action, the player has the ability to cancel out the tutorial or cancel out a spell. Do we really want them to be able to? For example, what if a player starts the calibration and accidentally stops the calibration? I like the idea of if it is a tutorial, until you have completed the tutorial process, you don't get to do it again. I do like that a lot better. And how long ago was that graph last edited? It's been a good hot second. I can say that much at the very least. Oh boy. The thing is, it's always changing, and it takes a lot of time to update it anytime I make a small change. So it's either I have that on the side and modify it as I'm going along, or do a lot of changes and then save a lot, and then record it all down. That's worked a lot better for me than having it on like a second screen and adding it as I go, since by the end of a programming session, I might entirely have changed the idea that I initially had at the start of the session. Let me get some tea here. Tasty, tasty. And with all of that said, what I'm thinking is, we need to have a system in place for the player so that they can't, or if they stop the calibration and the calibration hasn't been completed, we need to allow a way for the player to be able to still do the calibration. So before that, let's just make sure we can start it, and then we can stop them from stopping it. So if show tutorial, if meter is full, what I'm thinking is, if meter is full, if show tutorial, and I'm thinking instead of saying if show tutorial, we'll instead call it start tutorial. So start underscore tutorial, start tutorial. If start tutorial. So we'll grab this guy here. If start tutorial, then instead what we're going to say is utility dot first start spellcasting process. We're going to do start calibration. Start underscore calibration. Start, let's see, start calibration tutorial. Nope, there should be something for calibration. Or maybe it's not emit. It might not be emit, hold on. In our calibration screen, I think it's just a function. I don't think it's we can see here, enter calibration is a function. Do we have any sort of signal set up to do calibration? We have here, start spellcasting minigame. We have end calibration or clear casting screen, but we don't have one for calibration. So let's go ahead and just do that there. So utility dot start underscore calibration calibration, and then let's go ahead and have this connect. Hold on, let's just also put that there, and then let's have this connect guy here, and then let's also do an underscore for start. Oh, it won't be underscore with it, but start calibration, calibration, enter calibration. There we are, enter calibration is the guy we go for, and then we remove that guy there, and now we just need it as a signal. So I grab this guy here, start spellcasting mini game, all of those guys there. We'll move you to here. So let's see spellcasting signals, calibration. Right here, we have enable, disable, play, send results, increase audio, all of those guys there. Let's go ahead and just do a signal here, have that guy go there, and that goes there. And hi, Ronnie. Welcome in the stream, welcome in. And Necromancer rhythm typing cafe game is a wild theme type. How would that work? Well then, I'm glad you asked. Hold on, I can show you a little bit. The gist of the game is that you play as a necromancer here. Hold on if it loads. And good news is that it's not broken, at least as far as I know, so I don't think showing this off will allow or will disable anything, thankfully speaking. Let me go ahead and mute the music here for a second so that you can hear the in-game music. And if I bring you into levels here, what you'll see is that we have a little necromancer here. She's going to a wizard academy, and she doesn't want to become a necromancer though. So she decides to open up a little cafe in a part of the school that's hidden away from everyone else, and she serves her fellow wizard customers. So if I were to, for example, spawn in a customer here, we have a customer come in. Customers will come in, they'll sit down, they'll think about what they want to order, you'll take their orders, and then in order to serve the customer, in order to create their dish, you have to type out a poem to the beat. And okay, I have to watch more dev-related videos, seeing errors and serious mod really unfamiliar. Can you elaborate a little bit what you mean, Ed? And I think it's not broken last words. Oh, it's always last words. We can take the customer's order then, like this. And then we can go into the kitchen here and grab their order. Each wizard is represented by a different flavor, a different color. For example, we have a necromancer here. Her flavor is bitter, and in this game, that means a few different things. What you can see here is that it has fancy instruments right below the bitter bit. And if I were to go to the next tab, we have Medimancer here, which is a different type of wizard. It's a, what's it called? It's a healer wizard in the game, so it's a sweet wizard. And the idea is that you'll connect and you'll combine different flavors to get different spells. And if I just show off the calibration, or not the calibration, spellcasting, this is the spellcasting part. So B-E-W-A-R-E. And you play this until you finish the spell. Once the spell is complete, you have completed spellcasting, you serve the customers. That's the gist of the game there. Oh, serious business. Oh. Hold on. I think I jinxed it. I truly do. If you'd like to try the game out, the prototype's currently up on itch. If I do exclamation and ECR. I don't even know what broke. The game crashed. I don't know how. Oh boy. Let's see. Expected string. Desired product. Invalid access to property. Desired product. On object customer character body. I think what happened is I broke something a while back where I needed a way to test, or I forgot. I know what I did. I know exactly what's wrong. There's no, I removed a lot of things, moved everything around. I forgot to check what happens when you give a customer the incorrect dish. It never happened before. What? Too much cake? So it seems to fix this, what we have to do is just make sure it's saying invalid access to property desired dish, which means maybe along the lines or somewhere along those terms I did not replace it. You can see I don't think there is a desired product here. If I do Control F and do desired, nope, customer does not have a desired product. I see. Well then, how does a customer decide what they want to order? Hold on, I believe the customer, if I do customer here and go into the screen here, customer should have an order. If I'm not mistaken, let's see here. Customer, we have an image, we have a flavor, we have an attribute, all of those guys here. You have dislike flavors too. Where's your order at? It might be customer.order.desired product if I had to guess. Let's see. No, hold on, we have desired flavor combo. Are you seeing the problem? We have here desired dish product, desired product. That's the issue, is that I changed the naming. So if we just go ahead and go back to where we were, right about here, we grab this guy here, and where it says flavor combo, we just make sure we have the flavor combo here. It should be that, yes indeedy. But the thing we were missing is that it should be desired dish product, not desired product. And I don't know why Godot does that. It should let me know that's not an existing variable. What's a variable, right? Not existing variable, but it doesn't. It doesn't let me know that this customer, because it does, I do call it a customer, so it does know that it's a customer, but it won't let me know, hey, that actually doesn't exist underneath the customer class, which is a little bit confusing. But now that we've changed it to access the proper one, hopefully, and you aren't live on Twitch, I am indeed live on Twitch. If I were to do, let's see here, exclamation, Twitch, it should work. I'm live streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, so you can pick your poison depending on which one you like watching more. The thing is, sometimes the screen works in the chat for both of the platforms shows up, but unfortunately right now it's just Twitch showing up on screen. Now let's just do a quick check here. Did I fix it? So if we just spawn in a customer, hello customer, may I take your order? Just order something, think about it, I'll be back. Let's go ahead and hold on, move that down, start the game here, go ahead and finish that up. Yep, there's no way we're going to want a sweet bitter cake, right? No way at all. What do you want? Take your order here. Let's see, you want a sweet coffee. No, they're fine. Okay, so we should not get a crash. The customer should just not take the dish because it's not the dish that they want. And it does. You can see customer's custom order is blank. That's a new one, but it does say player has served the customer the wrong order. Given dish cannot get name. Invalid flavor combo or product received cannot get name. Ooh. The good news is that our, the warning signs are working. That's good. So I will have to see a little bit later about why that's not working. But the good news is that it didn't crash. It's working as intended. It's just not able to access the names, which is a future me problem that I don't have to worry about for right now, since it's working at least. And found it, I was searching for green Bobby, but it's just a purple Eris icon. I see. Well, welcome in. And by the way, I kind of lost control of my life once again. Today's business studies is a bigger rabbit hole than I thought. I don't blame you, Ed. It's a thing of once you get started, you just can't mop. I think that's the saying. It's a thing of if I have to, what's the best way to describe it? When I'm starting to learn a new topic, I have to limit myself to, for example, looking at only 5 things. Once I look at 5 things, I can't look at any more until I already did just those 5 things. So when I'm making playlists for tutorials, I start off with 5 tutorials. I have to watch those 5 tutorials before I can add more tutorials to the playlist. Otherwise, I'm going to sit there all night and just keep adding tutorials without ever sitting down to actually watch any of them. And great tips! Oh boy. The amount of resource gathering I do, but I don't ever actually use the resources. It's sad, I tell you. Let me go ahead. I will copy this bug and we will paste it into the task list. That way I don't forget about it and I know that it is a bug to be worked on a little bit later. That's good news. Okay, so with all of that said and done, now we can go back to the initial earlier question. Oh, before that, let me also make sure I save this guy here to say fixed error wrong order, O-R-D-E-R. Okay, now we have a backup, just in case anything else breaks that we need to go back to. With all of that said and done, now the good news is if we click on, let's see, back into the cafe, what we were trying to do is we wanted to see about making it so that the, what is it called? Calibration. The calibration started when we started the tutorial. So back down here, I believe it's going to be back on our player. We have here our charged spellcast meter. And if it is start tutorial, then we want to do utility dot start calibration. I believe it's enter calibration. Enter, let's see, enter player, enter calibration. So let's see, calibration, C-A-L-I, hold on. I'm not sure what you're called. I do believe we just renamed it, but let's see. Calibration, start calibration. Start calibration. So if everything works the way I think it might, I'm not 100% sure. I believe we should now enter in the calibration. And hi, is it Matt? How does Matt work? Welcome into stream, and I can certainly try your name if you help me out a little bit, but welcome in, and just tried the game for a bit. Turns out I'm unbelievably bad at typing in rhythm. That's the thing, is that you're either a great rhythm player or you're a great typer, and I wanted to make sure my game was a little bit challenging to people who are speedy demons when it comes to typing, so I added in a rhythm aspect so that you can't just type everything, you gotta pause what you're typing, and it does tend to trip people up, which is fun to see. So right now, the tutorial's a little bit too hard for my liking. I don't know your errors, Azra, hold on now. You can be both. It just slows people down at least a little bit initially, but I'm glad to hear you tried the game. I hope it was enjoyable. Now that we're here, if I go to the back, when we hold down Q, it should bring us into the calibration. So we should only have spaces. That should be the only thing that pops up. Let's see if it does. Hold down Q here, and we get... Interesting. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Interesting. So, I have a few questions, just a few. I'm wondering a lot of things right now. Get me out! I think I've soft locked. No, I haven't soft locked myself, thankfully. Yeah, we're gonna restart. Hold on. Restart. There we go. Okay, and let's go back to the main menu. So, what I'm thinking is, as I mute the music for her, just a quick second, and hi, Black Iris, welcome into stream, welcome in, and she's a little shy, isn't she? Oh boy. The thing is, when you start the calibration here, the screen definitely looks a lot different. So I'm wondering, is it the thing, oh, you know what? Maybe it's because we have to enable the calibration screen itself and show it, because when I click it, you'll notice that you also hear that tick sound when it starts, but it restarts over and over again, which is what I'm wondering on why that's the case. It should start, and then it should continue. So there's something to do with the case that the calibration screen is doing something that the game can't just copy and paste. So this wasn't as easy as a fix as I would have hoped. I was expecting this, though. I was expecting something to break, so I can't complain too much, can I? Well, let's see. Breaking this guy down. What's wrong? And hi, Koopy. Welcome in the stream. Welcome in, and welcome back as well. I hope your day, or whatever time zone thing it is, has been lovely for you. Let's see here. So we have this guy, cast on beat. Whomst are you? Oh, you're a little mouth. I see. And then we have the mini game itself. And the mini game actually is just this little black box here. Everything else around it is entirely different. And then we have this guy here. Hold on, let's see. If I can go to the spellcasting screen. The spellcasting screen itself is this guy here. Let me double check. Yes, this guy here. So we want the spellcasting screen to show up and to play the mini game. And what I'm thinking is, it's hidden when we start it. Because what the spellcasting screen is doing is it needs to enable as this guy's starting the process. So, that's to say, when we start it, we need to make sure it's visible on screen. So the start spellcasting process, if I click on you here, start spellcasting process, what happens when we start the spellcasting process? What happens? Control-Shift-F, we find this guy here. We are using it here in our spellcasting desk to connect. We have this guy here to connect here. Interesting. So, start spellcasting process means that player has activated spellcasting. We then run the spellcasting, and then we delete the items, and then we start the current game state. Okay, that's good news. That means what we have to do here is that we just remove this guy here, and then say, is calibration. We do a bool, and then we modify things depending on if it's calibration or not. And no worries at all, check. Have to go. Good luck with not exploding the game again. Can I cast fireball? You know, you're not even asking how big the room is. How bold of you. I hope you have a lovely one, check. Thank Thanks for stopping by and chatting for a bit. And I hope your day goes well, as I believe the time zones for you aren't too painful. At least I hope not. Oh boy. With that said, we just need to add a bool here for start spellcasting is underscore CALIBRATION is calibration. Then we'll do a bool here. And what I'm thinking is we do start spellcasting process here. We go back to the player, and instead of doing start calibrating here, let's go. Yeah, you get removed. You do here, and then we're also going to omit it. We're then going to say true here. And then after that, we go to this guy here. We want to make sure that it is let's see, what do we call you? Do we call you is calibration specifically, or how did we exactly call you? Go back to here. Yep, start spellcasting here. You here. We call you is calibration. So let's just make sure we copy this guy. Go back to our utility. Let's see, this guy here, that guy there. Is calibration goes here. So if it is calibration, we set it to bool to true, though by default, we want to set it to false. So let's see here. If I click on you here, click on you here, we'll set it by default to false. So equals to false. There we are. Now what we can say is player has activated spell casting. What we can say is that if is calibration. So if not, and I don't know how well I like that, is calibration. The wording feels a little bit off, but it's okay. If not is calibration, do all of these things and then return. If it is calibration though, instead we're gonna do things a little bit differently. So if it's not calibration, we are still going to do this here, but do a few other things. That's why I'm not too sure how exactly I want to do it. If I want to do two different checks or somewhere else. For example, we can say player has started calibration, has started TUTO, or has started in-game calibration, in-game CALIBRATION. Player has started in-game calibration. And then instead of running the spellcasting, what we're going to do is run spellcasting. What do you do? Interesting. I see. Current spell has been set to. We do all of those things here. This is our spellcasting desk. So it seems to be the case of randomizing map, doing all of those guys there. We don't need you, which is good.
Rodine3 just redeemed hydrate.
Hi, Rudy. Welcome to stream. Welcome in. Hydration, I sure can do indeed. Let me get some what here, right here. Water has been acquired. Thank you for that redeem, and welcome into stream. Welcome in. So, since it's the case here, the start spellcasting based on the items. What this guy does is, because in my game, there's random items that you can grab. So we have this guy here. A spell is made of 2 flavors and 1 ingredient. This spellcasting desk will take those 2 flavors and ingredient and give you a random spell assigned to any of those. But since we're calibrating, we don't need any of that. We just need it to do the calibration spell. So here where it says run spell casting, for example, here we have a randomized map. We have here the stop the background. We have all of these guys here that says to get the current spell. All of you guys here, what we would need to do instead is have a way to do the start spell casting or start calibration. And what I'm wondering is for spell casting minigame, we already do have a start calibration. We have it right here, enter calibration. It does all of these things already automatically. So what I'm thinking is, let's just do this guy here, enter calibration, since it does work already. So, with that said, let's go back into our spellcasting desk here. Back where we do, let's see here, where we with our start spellcasting process, here we are. Instead, what we can say is, if not calibrating all of you guys there, we can move you back into here a little bit here. Player has started in-game spellcasting calibration. Let's just go ahead then and have this guy here do enter calibration. We'll do utility.emit, so utility dot, and then enter calibration.emit. So .emit. And then, let's see, is there anything specific in our run spellcasting that happens? We have, for example, stop background music here. We also have it to start the minigame. We also have to hide the game over page.emit. So, let's grab a few of these guys because they are useful. We don't need all of them, though. For example, here there's like current spell and dishes, and we don't have to worry anything about the dishes. The dishes aren't important because we're calibrating. The dishes doesn't happen after calibration. We'll automatically spawn in a dish. That way the player doesn't have to worry about any of that. So let's go ahead then and do back up to here, then back up to here, and back here. What we can then do is if I grab you here, let's have current game state.exit. Nope. Well, no, yeah, that is important. Stop background music. That is important as well. Where are we at with our start spellcasting process? We have enter calibration. Let's go ahead and also do the stop background music. There we are. We don't need to delete the items since if the player has not finished the calibration, we want them to be able to redo it again. So, nope, don't want to delete the items. That's good to go. And then we have current game state.exit. That's also pretty important. We can also keep that guy there. Let's see, we have current level is tutorial. We have current spell set to that. We have current spell set to that as well. We then have start spellcasting minigame.emit and then hide game over page. Let's go ahead then and also just do this guy here, and then we have enter calibration here. So, if I'm understanding this correctly, all of these guys here should be everything we need for the calibration portion of it if it is not calibration. Or if not calibration, then we do all of those things. If it is calibration, then we set up the calibration. And this is where I'm thinking it would be better to make this into a function to read a little bit better. I do like that idea a little bit more. So if we, for example, were to do function here and we were to do enter and then underscore CALIBRATION, enter calibration, I think it could just read better here. We could also, for example, just have it do a note, but I do like the way this reads. If not calibration, then we do this here. Or we could also, I think reads a lot better, now that we have all of these guys here, we can say if it is calibration, we do this and then return. So we do return here, you paste that there, and I think that reads out a lot clearer. If it is calibration, enter calibration and then return. Otherwise, we do the things non-associated with calibration. I like the way that reads a lot clearer. It feels nicer, so we're gonna go with that. The thing is, though, what I love about programming as well is that, technically speaking, we could just put this here, and that could work too. And it rates, it's the same, but I like it. It just feels nicer when you do it like that. I like how you can make things and other things and just put it in a box and lots of boxes. I think it's a lot of fun. So we'll go ahead and save this guy here. And now the hope is that we enter in calibration, the guy goes ahead and pauses on screen, does all the things it needs to do. I'm not sure if it will. That's the fun part of finding out. So let's see. I'll go ahead and we'll mute the music of the background, and then let's go ahead and try it. Before that though, let me get a little bit of a key here. Lovely. But that said, let me go ahead and slide up and over here. I still don't know why that a customer. We'll have to figure that out. Why the customer decides, yes, I want to come in here when we're closed. Shoo, be gone. Now we have here, I still can't pick up things, which is very important. Holding down. Oh, another thing too is I want to add a sound effect for the holding down part, the charging effect, because I do think that would add in a good visual or audio cue of that you're supposed to hold down Q. And customer, that sign can't stop me because I can't read. That's what it does feel like. I do agree. So let's see here. If I hold down Q, we should go into calibration. And we get instead, invalid property, enter calibration on base object. Interesting. I wonder why that is. Oh, I know why. Hold on. I know why. Calibration here. Go back to calibration, spellcasting, calibration. Hold on. Oh, calibration signals right there. Yeah, you're gonna be. Oh, I think I have 2 sets of calibration. Okay, hold on. I know the issue here. Calibration here. Let's see. Enter calibration. You don't exist. I see. Start calibration then. I believe it should be. So go back into click on you here. Click on you here. And this is another one where I would have hoped it said start instead, or would have told me that it doesn't work. Start calibration. There we go. Okay, try again. Close this guy here. Click on that guy there. And there we are. And hello, I am back. I'm still number 1. Welcome back into stream. Welcome back in. Let's see. Click on you here. Click on you here. And we are good to go. Okay. Try again. Take 2. If I click now, let's see. Now that the signal should be signaling correctly, it does. However, we also have a few other guys. Pause screen, disable spellcasting options. Expected indent. Interesting. Is it because I pressed buttons here? I'm not too sure. We'll give this a try. See if we can figure out why it broke. But if not, we'll do the ad break since it is about to start in about 3 minutes. Let's see. If I click on you here. Okay, so, you know what? Let's go in the ad break now, and then we'll figure out... I don't even know. Alrighty, then. Let me put the music back on, and I don't know what I broke! I am very much confused. Well then, a great time to get some water and stretch if you haven't already today. I try my best to stretch every hour, and if you can, I recommend as well just getting up and stretching. For example, maybe you could do, what is it called? The hamstring stretches when you stand up or touching your toes. Those are both hamstring stretches. Maybe I don't know as many stretches as I thought. But just make sure you're moving every so often, because the thing of it may not affect you this very moment in time, but it might 20 years down the line affect you in that sense of what was it? Kids who get into trampoline accidents, they don't feel it now, but then all of a sudden 30 years later, now their knees feel a little bit funny because they use the trampoline awkwardly. Let me get some water here. Tasty, tasty, how lovely. And with that said, let me get a little bit of tea here as well. Tasty. And with that said, since we have about 2-ish minutes left, let's go ahead and do some neck stretches, shall we? Let's start off by going to the left here a little bit. And then we'll want to go to the right here a little bit. And then we'll want to go, let's see, to the front a little bit. And remember to go slowly but surely, do at your own risk. If something breaks, call a doctor, call a lawyer, but I should not be held responsible or held liable for anything that might happen. Let's go forward a little bit. And then let's go backwards a little bit. Like that. Another one you can do is holding this guy here for an entire minute, but we don't have time for a minute. You can also hold this guy down, so you're not only turning, but also looking downward. That's another fun one. Though, I do just enjoy these. I think these are my favorite. As long as you go slowly, something can definitely break. I can't say that much. Let's go ahead and go to the left here as well. You can hold it. And then you can also go down here a little bit. And with that said, I think my neck is all stretched out. I think we're good to go. Oh boy, it's the hug cat I'm thinking of. Hold on, let me just double check here. Hug cat. I feel as though I've seen it before. Oh no, I haven't seen that one. And then there's this one. Hold on. Oh boy, hold on. If I click on you here very quickly, as I just. Cats are always just so expressive. Oh my. Let me click on this guy here. Like, take a look at this. Yeah, that sounds about, that feels about right, looking at that guy. Oh boy, how adorable. Let me go ahead and hide this then, and then we should be good to go. Alrighty then, let me slide this guy all the way back over to here, and with all that's done, 30 seconds should be about now. Welcome back from the ad break. Welcome back. You have missed nothing, I assure you, aside from this. I was curious to see which cat exactly we were talking about. But now that you're back, let's go ahead and get back into programming, shall we? And figuring out why starting the game now crashes it. That's what I'm not sure about. I just... why? Can we get to that point? Maybe? Something along the lines of invalid property, visible. You know, maybe if we just close it or stop it, we could always turn it on and off again. That has always been a thing we could always do. Levels back into here, Interesting. Set item visibility. If I had to guess why it didn't like this, it's because it has not been set yet, or it hasn't been created. We have here our set level status, and then we have set spellcasting table item visibility. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is set spellcasting table item visibility, set level status, and that's this guy here. I'm wondering if it's because the things haven't been set yet on the plate, but then I also wonder, why is it saying this now? Shouldn't it have said that back when we first did it? Why is it now confused? That's what I'm wondering. Or maybe it's a thing of sometimes it does it in the correct order and sometimes not. Maybe. What I'm thinking is our set items based on cheats. We have that guy there. Yeah. Set settings based on cheats. And then we have that there. Okay. Copy you here. Remove you here. Set settings based on cheats. Oh, we do it twice. How interesting. Set settings based on cheats. Set settings based on cheats. Hold on. Add that there. Move that there. We're back down to here. If utility labeled enable desk there, then we do that there. And then we have you there, you there. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and try again. If I click on you here, and then we click on levels here, then we click on you here. Aha! I see. Lovely. I think we're good. And these errors here are pretty good. Could not assign lock status. Could not assign pages. No house picture. Yep, that reads well. Okay, now let's mute the music and see if it if we get the glitch again where it's just restarting over and over again. So if I go up here, we go up here. Aha. I see. The items are not being created now. That's why we're getting the need. Interesting. If utility level, current enable test table, then we should be able to set it and then set it based on the level table. Interesting. So the items aren't being spawned is what I'm hearing now for some odd reason. Maybe if we do set item visibility. Okay, hold on. If, let's see, set item visibility, we go back to here, and then if plates is empty, so let's just do if plates to item is empty. So if plates to item dot is empty, then we return. How about that? Are you good there? It's for some reason, I know why the reason of, but it's catching it before it's had time to set itself up. That's why it's not too happy with us at the moment. So let's see. Yup, and then we have visible and then all of those guys there. So if plate to plate items is dot empty. What we need to do then, and what I'm thinking is, for plate to visible, what we can say is, if plate to item plate is null, so if you there dot null, or if plate to plate item, I think that should work. I think this will catch it if it's null. So let's see. I think that works. I don't think we have to say equal equals null. I think you can do that in C++, but I'm not sure about Godot. How are you? Go up. Oh, we're in the game. That's for starters. Good to know. These guys here, though, are not being hidden, which means I don't think they're being spawned. So, back into our tutorial level, can we be certain that this guy here is the tutorial? Is tutorial enabled test table? Test table. There we are. Click on you there. And then, are we okay? Are you accepting of all of this, Godot? Do you take this offering now? Let's see. The items are now here. Good news is that they're also invisible. So, back where we were before everything broke. Speaking of, you know what would be the responsible thing to do? Hold on. Let me go ahead and make sure they're pre-break working. We'll just call that working and make sure I commit it and then push. Okay, now let's try. Oh boy, I'm confused on why I got angry now. But you know what? It can have its tantrums. That's all right. Let's see. Let's go up here, down here, and now we're hoping for the calibration menu to pop up, or we're hoping for the spellcasting calibration scene to play. Let's see if it does. I'm not sure if it will. So hold on Q here, and now we have disable spellcasting options. Interesting. So let's see, pause screen, all of these guys here, expected indented block, in this pause screen here, disable spellcasting options, and we have game state spellcasting. Okay, we have some things to break down. Back to the music again. And then let's see. You here, our pause screen doesn't have a spellcasting options. That's what it's saying. And if we go to here to our spellcasting screen, let's see. We have pausable. Nope, hold on. Stop you there. Our screen should be that guy there, that guy there. You have our book. We have our options menu. We have our game state for game over, game state complete. We have our product item. We have you there. We have you there. We also have our game state for... Interesting. Hold on. Game state complete. This guy here has a pause screen and an exit game state, and the player can move. For some reason, this guy got reset, which is, I'm not sure why. Okay, well, this game state complete. We have cafe for when you're in the cafe. We have spellcasting for when you're currently spellcasting. And then this complete's supposed to be, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I can read this correctly, or if I can remember correctly, this complete's supposed to be when you finish spellcasting. So we just need to grab the regular pause screen. So let's see. Pause screen, we just grab the pause screen that we have in the game. So that's going to be our options menu for our pause screen. And then for our exit game state, we can just hopefully drag and drop our cafe back into here, connecting them. Now, how do you feel, Godot? Let's see. If we click play again from here, now we get levels here. We click on you here. We move upwards to here. Interesting. It reset it again, I think. Tutorial level. Did it reset it? It did. Huh. For some reason, it's disabling our test table every time, I think. It feels as though it does it when I save it, which is super odd. And then if we go back up here, now it's here. Okay, we might have to check that. Well then, what do you think now, Godot? How are you feeling now? Let me make sure the music isn't. Are we good? Yes, music is paused. Okay, holding down Q, we now have this guy again. Okay, so from what I'm understanding, we can't have one without the other. Anytime we try to start it, it clears this guy. Or no, hold on. Now it doesn't clear it. Interesting. Okay, hold on. Let me click on you here, and let's see. So non-existent function, disable spellcasting options in base null. It's saying that because we have our pause screen, and we have a pause screen for disable spellcasting options. And if we go into our options menu, it should be a pause screen, but it is an options menu screen. I see. Okay, and a pause screen, I believe, is just a screen. So if we go back to screens here, we have an is active, all of those guys there. We go back into our options menu. Let's see here. So, you here. If I click on you, will you let me click on you? Okay, so we are in a game state, for spellcasting. Yes, game state spellcast. Oh, hold on. I think I get it. I think what we need to do is go to our game over screen, possibly. Hold on. In our spellcasting screen, you are this guy here. You're this screen, and bye, you're a spy chat. Thank you for streaming. Good luck with coding. Thank you, Chapel. Thank you, and I hope you have a lovely day as well. I hope your day goes wonderful, and that you get a lot of stuff better. Maybe it's just chillaxing today, and in that case, regardless, I hope
the
everything goes as you would have
Chapel
hoped.
just redeemed
Thank you for that hydration redeem as well. I can do. Thank you, and also make sure that you hydrate as well. That's also super duper important. Let's see here. Our spellcasting screen looks a little something like this. This guy here. And what I'm wondering is that our game state, when we're in the cafe, our game state is set up like this. When we're in spellcasting, our game state is set up like this. We have our pause screen and our exit screen, and then we have our game state complete. And where does our game state for our game over come into play? Game state here. Yeah, these wires are crossing game over screen, and our game state is game state complete. I think this is where it's not too happy about us finishing or about us completing the tutorial or something along the lines. I'm curious to try out first to see if we just play the game normally, if it works. So if we're in here, no tutorial added, it does work. It works fine. Just dandy. But it's when we try to do this spell casting for calibration that it's not too happy. Okay. So good news is only some of it's broken. So let's see here. If I go back into script, we have our pause screen, we have our exit, and this guy here is for our game state spell casting. Right now at the moment, it's saying some of these guys here. So let's first, or we might have to add some breakpoints. I'm not a fan of breakpoints. I'm more of a fan of printing for debugging, but sometimes you gotta do it. So let's go back into you here, go back into you here. Oh, hold on. Go back into you here. Yeah, interesting. It clears it, and I'm wondering why. We're gonna have to probably remove a lot of wires that are connecting. So I think that's our next step, is slowing down and figuring out why exactly it's disabling things. In our tutorial level, we know for certain, enable test table. Okay, so let's go back into our level data here, and where do we use our enable test table at? Somewhere along the lines, it's disabling it or it's enabling it. We have down here our level data. We also have our debug screen. So let's see, test table for any of our debugs here. That makes sense. We have test table here, true and false, depending on what it is. We have enable cheats, disable cheats. That also makes sense. And then in our spellcasting desk right here, let's see. If, and set settings based on cheat. If current level data is enable test table, we add the items from the plate, and then we set the items visibility. So that makes sense. That does make a lot of sense. It's working in that regard. So then why does it disable our test data is what I'm wondering. It's nothing it seems to be moving it or destroying it or interacting with it, but we don't spawn in our items. So since I'm not saying that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on you here, and let's try again with the breakpoint. And hi, failed doctor. Welcome to the stream. Welcome in. What's the game about? Well, I can certainly give you the lowdown. Give me 1 second to finish my thought, and then I can go through it super duper quick. Our tutorial here, go back into here. We don't ever go into the function. Interesting, how odd. Alrighty then, well, welcome in. I'm currently working on a rhythm typing cafe game where you play as a necromancer. And if I click on play here, or the music here, if it lets me, and I go into this guy here, it is a, hold on. The breakpoint now works when we go into the game. Let me remove the breakpoint and then let's see if I can show it off, or is is it going to be that curse of anytime you try to show it off, it's in a broken state? Here we are. It is a cafe sim mixed with a rhythm typing game. So if we go ahead, for example here, and a customer were to spawn, in this game you play as a necromancer who has to serve her necromancer fellow customer students. For example here, we have a necromancer. You can see that the color is purple, and in this game, different customers, different wizard houses are represented by different things. And since it's a cafe game, that comes down to the idea of different flavors. So necromancers represent bitter here, and this character here who's pink, they are a medimancer, our healer wizards. And the hope is that as you go along in the game, you'll have to mix and match different flavors and combine them from different spells, as it's also a rhythm typing game. And rhythm typing comes into play in the fact that spells here, your spell casting, is that you have to type out poetry to the beat. So if we take this customer's order here, as I'm behind them and I'm taking it, you'll see that they want a few things. You can see that there's a pink and a purple and kind of like a mug look to it. And if I were to swap to this page, hopefully that can make a little bit more sense, is the fact that the flavors combine to create different things, and those different things have different aspects. So in this case, the customer wants a bitter sweet dish. You can see pink purple, and then that pink purple up there, sweet bitter. So we would grab all of our ingredients, go to this table here, and this is where you would get the rhythm typing part. The thing is, E-W-A-R-E, a lot of it's subject to change, but this is the gist of it. It's a cafe sim with rhythm typing, so you have to type out poems to the beat like that. And then you finish the spell, you grab it, you serve the customer, and that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot more going on, like for example, hold on, customer, oh right, this isn't what you want, is it? No, you want a cocoa. I see. We're trying to give them a cake. Imagine this was the dish that they wanted us to give them. They would eat it, and then they would say thank you, and then they would leave. That's the game in a nutshell. Let me go ahead, and if I also do, let's see here, exclamation Necrotype, that's not exclamation, exclamation Necrotype, there we are. The prototype is currently up on itch, so if you'd like to give it a try, by all means, feel free to. The hope is that by the time we finish making the minimum viable product, so making a game that is both a cafe sim and a rhythm typing game, we can move on to adding all the special effects and everything else, but right now we're trying to focus on the main part of it. Then the demo will be released on itch, and the full release will come out on Steam. I've been working on this game for about a little bit, or a little under 2 years now. So it's going, it's certainly going. This is the second game I've ever made. The first ever game I made was under 24 hours. Anytime I worked on it, I had a timer going, so like a stopwatch. So this is the actual first game I can certainly say that I've made before, and I've learned a lot. Like how this initial 6-month project I thought has turned into almost 2 years. For starters right there. And what we were just working on is we're trying to figure out why the set settings based on cheats is not being entered when we start up the game. And I'm wondering, yeah, so set settings based on cheats. This guy here, we don't ever seem to enter in this function when the game is in tutorial mode. And right now we're working on the tutorial and trying to get the player to do calibration when they start the game. So let's see, close this guy here and click on play there. And 24 hours versus 17,000 hours. Slight disparity. But is it really 17,000 hours? Technically speaking, hold on. I think this is episode, let's see. If I just do the math here, this is technically episode, I think 82. So we've done 82, and if we do 82 times 4, it's whatever that number is. And what was the first game? My first ever game, I can also show you if I hold on and click on this guy here. Funny enough, it was, well, no, actually, never mind. It wasn't related to this. If I click on Obsidian here, I can show you the first game I made was kind of like a clicker game. Either the best way to describe it, you would find things on screen. It's like a endless runner. You find stars on screen and you click them and you have to go all around. And if you'd like to try that as well, it's also up on itch. That guy there, oh boy, that brings back memories. Let me go back into programming here. And 328 hours of work, but 17,000 hours worth of time. They're playing in hi Fodder. Welcome in as well. Oh boy, and 328, this really doesn't feel like 300. That's the thing. Not even to consider the time I spent off stream working on it. That's just on stream hours. But my goodness indeed. And yeah, worth of time, that's what it does feel like. I can agree to that one for certain. If we go back into here, what I'm noticing is that we don't go into the breakpoint. So somewhere along the lines, this isn't getting moved, or this isn't getting set. And it's only getting set when we're in the game itself, not when we're in the tutorial level. So if I do Control-Shift-F and I click on Find here, where are we doing .connect at? We are running this guy when we run this, set settings based on cheats. So if I go back into here, this is where we're doing the emit. So back in our cafe, back on our emit here, We have set settings based on cheats.emit, and then we have set settings based on cheats.connect. Interesting. Okay. And it also seems to be the case is do you seem to be that there, and then this guy here. But for some reason, I wonder if I click on you here and then we click on play here, is it the fact that we're just not going into that function? I see. If utility.currentLevelData is not enable test tables, what we can then say, or and we'll say utility.currentLevelData dot is tutorial. There we are. I think that'll work. And now if we click into play and we start the tutorial, I think it'll work now that we say if it's either enable the test tables or if it is the tutorial, enable it. So now we do enter this guy in here. Okay, and we should go into the function. We do? Lovely. Okay, well then, if that gets solved, hopefully, fingers crossed, let's see if anything fixed itself or did something else break entirely. So we go back into the tutorial here. We click on levels, we click on tutorial. Now, when I go behind the desk, I expect to see it say hold Q. And we get hold Q. And now from here, I expect the menu to pop up for the spellcasting screen. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. Oh boy, let me slide this guy down here a little bit more so I can see that guy there. And let me also slide this guy here so I can see that as well. Here we are. Okay, so let me go ahead and slide this guy down here a little bit. And there we are. Okay. So with all that said and done, if I go ahead and hold down Q here, let's see what happens. So we're back to our initial problem. My goodness. Let's see how well that can work. So if I close on you here and then we click on play here, let's try again. I'm just curious to see. I want to pause the game at a certain point. So when our level's here and then or you know what? I think I do have a guide that tells me, does the thingamajinky. If I click on, where are we at? Let's go to our music, enable the music back to where we were. And welcome in as well. I think it's Losis, possibly, Locus, maybe? Welcome into stream. To answer your question, it did get modded out. The thing is, I'm trying my best to learn everything by myself, so it's a DIY of everything. So everything here, I'm trying to do from scratch or learn from other people. So that's the model around here at the very least. Let's see. If I click on kitchen tutorial start, location markers, all of those guys here. This cafe cover is that guy there. We have our tutorial start position. We have our movement guy. I could have sworn we had a guy to tell us the game states. Debug screen. That's oh, I forgot about you. Do you still work? Hold on. Oh, hold on here. Do I still have a little debug screen? Let's see. Go back to our regular level days. I do. Look at that information. And doesn't the numbers and the charts and the stats fill you with determination? I don't think I ever finished this, but this was a hope to have it on screen while I'm also having this on screen. That's super neat. We have the levels, we have the description, we have the tutorial, we have the level length, we have the spawn chance, all of those guys there. We also have the cheats on screen. What we need to do is also have, I think, a space for it to have the game data. An Undertale reference! Indeed, I don't know if you can tell if I'm a fan or not. Let's see. Yeah, I think let's also add our current game state to the screen. I think that would make this a lot easier to see. We have our level data, our customer data, our cheats. Let's add a data to show the current game state. I think that would be a lovely idea. So let's go back into our debug screen here. This guy is where all of our information is being added. Let's add a little guy right about here, right? I don't know what you did, but I'm sure you're fine. We'll call you here Game State. Game State. Let's give you a different color. I quite like the idea of making you like a maybe, yeah, let's go there. Let's go with that one there. We have a cheats container, and then we have a label here for cheats. Let's see, level data. There we go. And with that said, what I want to do is, where are we doing ghost area staging containing? We have cheats here. We have label area container cheats. Yep. And then we have you here. Okay. And then if we go into here, this guy right here, we go ahead and grab you here. I want to set up a tester to check to make sure and understand if I can. Oh, data container. Oh, this goes deep. I don't remember writing any of this. Oh, that's no good. I made a tool and I never ended up using. Oh boy, we have the data name and then the variable here, and then these guys, I think I make a list of. Oh boy. So our game state area. Apparently, we make some data containers depending, and then we populate it. Oh, look at those big words. Let's see it. Been coding so long, the old code is lost to the ages. Yeah. Oh boy, that was not it. I didn't expect that one bit. Not one bit at all. Oh boy. Let's go ahead here, grab our game state data. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to grab the current game state, its type, its name, things of that nature. So let's see. Toggle visibility do show. Then we have populate data on here. We have set cheats, and then we also have create static data container for info. New data container. We grab the static data, set it info and info. And what we're going to do here is we set the cheats. We set the console debug status toggle. Indeedy. Okay. So we're going to call this var. We're going to call this static, and then we're going to call it data. Well, it's actually not static, truth be told. It moves. So we have process here, and it's active update data. Yeah, not data. I say. I think I had this idea, and then I forgot about it, and then I never ended up going through with it. If I had to guess, because these guys are static. That means they don't move. Once you load up the game, all of this data is shown, but it's never updated. That's why it's static. So this update data here is for non-static. So let's just go ahead and do game state data, DATA. Yep, we're gonna make you a dictionary. Yep, dictionary, and then we're gonna do that there. And then we're gonna have here one called current game state. Current game state, and then let's have this say the name of the game state. So this guy here is going to be current game state is going to be you there. And then how can we do this? I don't want to copy and paste. It feels a little off, but I think it's fine. We have here create static data container. Oh man, I'm happy to see this, but I don't remember writing any of this. Oh boy, we grab our static data cheat here and our cheats container here. Yep, that's the cheats container there. We have the game data here. Where's our ghost container IC? And we have a container here, I'm guessing. Yep, you're going to be our game state container, C1TINER. Oh, that feels weird. Hold on. Data area, you should not have a space. That feels very cursed. Hold on, let's delete that, delete that, delete that. There we go. Lovely. Okay, and with that said, we need a current game state. There's a few things we're going to need to make sure we can test everything. Our game states have a current, we have a pause, we also have an exit. So current game state, it also needs to have a pause screen and an exit screen. So let's see here if I do pause screen, and we also need SCREEN. We also need an exit screen. So pause screen and also exit screen here. And with that said, after that, we will just have to fill these up, I think, with null for now, possibly, maybe. So we'll do you here, and we're gonna do, well, this is going to be a string. So it's a dictionary of strings to strings. So I can just do here, string, I don't remember, are you capital or are you lowercase? String to string, there we are. And we're going to set you to TBD, and then we can do a comma, and then we're just gonna copy all of you here, and you can go here, and why are you like that there? Oh, hold on, TBD, you go here, and then you go there. There you go. Okay, and then copy you here, paste you there, paste you there. Now, why are you angry? You should be an equal here. There you go. Okay, and then in our update data, what we're going to do is you here. So game state data. And this is where I'm not too happy about it, but the good news is because it's debugging, I'm okay with having it like this. I think it's a-okay to do. So we're going to have our game state data here, and I'm wondering as well, is there a debug screen here in our level data? I'm wondering if we go to our, for example, our tutorial, is there, show debug menu. Okay, let's do it that way. I think that's easier to see. And with that said, back to our debug menu here, go back into you here, then go back into you here. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to set the game state data of a few different things. So game state data, and then we're going to grab all of you guys here. So actually, let's just do that. I think that's a little bit easier. And then we're gonna grab you here, then do this here. And this is why I'm not too happy with it, but I think it works for now on. Hi, Ronnie. Welcome in from the other side. Welcome in. And let me slide that down a little bit. Welcome in. Let's see here. If I click on you here, copy you here, let's go and paste, and then I can just grab you and yoinka, and then we'll set the names of everything here. I don't like it because I don't usually key in things with strings. I usually like using items, but since this is a one use case, I'm okay with doing a string, just for now, at the very least. So we set that guy there. We set that to equal then. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do utility dot current game state dot current game state. So current game state, or how do we say it? CURRENT. And hi Jaxus, welcome Ministry, welcome in and welcome back. How's the tutorial going? It's going lovely, thank you very much. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Current game state dot name. We're running into a few issues, and I'm also finding code that I forgot I wrote. So that's fun, isn't it? Oh boy, let's go ahead and have that there for current game state. We'll then have you go there, and then have you go there and there and there. And remove that guy there, remove that guy there. You're going to be game state. You're going to be game state. And why are you angry? Current game state, hold on. We need to have you as your own guy, don't we? Game state equals, so let's make you into your own dictionary, I'm guessing. So go back up here. We'll go to actually here. We'll make you a var for game state data. We'll make you a dictionary, and you're going to be a dictionary, a string to string, like that. And we'll then also make sure that you are invisible or empty. I think it's like that for dictionary. And then from down here, we'll set R, static cheat data, yep, and you get set to instead be new underscore. And then we'll go ahead and set you to create static data container. No longer are you needed. Instead, we're going to set our game state data equal to you here. So your new game state data, and then you go here, and then you go here, like that. You're also not going to be your cheats container. You're going to be our game state container. So we can go ahead and also access this unique name here. Drag and drop you into, let's see, game state here. So game state container, we'll go right about there, and then we can copy you here. You will go into this guy right here, game state container, because you are a game state container. And now down here is where we can get a little fancy with it. And you having fun while coding? I have fun coding all the time. What do you mean? The only thing I don't like about coding is bug fixing. I like refactoring, I like making new things, but when things break, sometimes the problem solving is fun, but other times you hit a wall and you just think to yourself, how did I get here? And the thing is, you can't even get upset either, because you put yourself in that situation. Somewhere along the line, you went left when you should have went right, and who can you blame but yourself? Oh boy, let's see. We'll do utility.currentGameState.name. We'll do then.pause, so pause screen.name, and then we'll also set this to the .exit name. So .exit.name. There we go. .exit.name. There we go. And with that said, exit screen. Should you be exit screen? Hold exit underscore screen. Hold exit dot you there. Yes, dot, hold on. You go, yeah. Dot exit. Exit. Okay. What are you called? Current game state. We have game state. You are called exit game state. I see. Gotcha. Exit game state dot name. Got ya. Okay, hold on. Back to where we were. Back to here. And we'll make sure we do current game dot exit game state dot name. There we go. Name. There we go. And future heirs do be crying in pain after that. Indeed. But tis the life of programming is something I've realized. And the thing is, had you told me years ago that this is what programming was about, this is what making games was about, is there just no programming, being a programmer in general, making things, and I would say yes. No, I would very much say yes. I like how programming is that thing of being able to make something from nothing and look to all of this code and think to yourself, it's like writing a book. I wrote all of this, and if it breaks, it's because something's wrong. I messed up somewhere, and then being able to go back and reread over your own work, find things that you didn't know you wrote at like 3 a.m. in the morning. It's a lot of fun. Let me go ahead and save this guy here. Let's go and remove, I don't know where we got the flavor description boxes from. We shouldn't need this flavor parser either. I don't know where you guys opened up at. I don't know how you got here. You need to leave. Let's move this guy. Let's see. Our debug data container. Yep, that's correct. Let's go ahead and close you here. Let's then go back to our debug screen, back to here. I believe this should be set correctly. Let's see if it breaks. Let's see if our debug menu breaks. Oh boy, if I go ahead and save this guy here, let's see if I go ahead and click on you here, save. All right, back into levels. You there? Okay, so far, so good. The thing is, it's not showing because we have to enable it. So if I were to go into our level data here, we were to go into a sandbox level, and I were to do, I take it back. Our sandbox level does have the debug menu enabled, but we don't get the debug menu enabled. Interesting. Hold on. Sandbox level. Why don't we get the debug menu enabled? Now I'm curious. Hold on now. Let's see. You there, you there. We have our level data. Where do we do the debug? Control Shift F or let's see. Show underscore debug debug underscore menu. Do we ever actually use it? We have level data here. We have that there. But oh, I see. Hold on. Okay, that's good to go. What we have to do is actually make sure we put it on the thing. That would be super duper important. And it says there's a sub goal, but I'm a little confused with that one. And unless there's a sub I'm missing, and we can never forget the 3 in the morning part of the process. That's the fun part. Oh boy. Let me go ahead, and we have set level data right here. In this set level data, we have all of these guys. If level data is tutorial else, we can also now say that our debug menu, which we should have access to, no, the cafe doesn't know about it. Interesting. Okay, do we have a function then? We don't have a function, I think, that shows it. I see. Utility.toggle debug screen. I see. Okay, well, cafe, do you have that? No, you don't. Interesting. Okay, well, where do we ever use that? Where do we use it at? We do .emit in our cheats here. I see. It is a command that we never enabled or disabled, which is a-okay. Which means what we do is we go ahead and we copy on you here, copy save. We go to our cafe again. And then at the very bottom here, what we do is we do utility.toggle debug screen.emit. And then we go ahead and do our level data, or hold on, let's see, .emit toggle debug screen. We set it to level data here. So level data dot, and then we do show debug menu. There we go. Okay, I think we should be good to go, possibly. Let's see. You never know with these things. It's like opening up a loot box all over again. If we click on new, voila! Take a look at that. Now, what I'm wondering is, why is it not showing the current game state in the way it should be? That's a little wonky. That's okay, though. We can deal with that. And I'm wondering as well, for our speedy customers, this guy's also not enabled as much as it should be. So let's modify the UI just a little bit. It's not a UI stream, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. I want to make sure that this guy here is set to as fill as it can. So you're that ratio. Hold on. You are that guy here, Velox data separator. Your customer level data, you're all of these guys here. Yep. And I want to make sure you all are set to as big as you can go. Like that there, that there, that there. Yep, you're expanded. You are also, or you should be expanded. Debug toggle. What are you exactly? Data area. Oh, I think you're old. Yeah, who needs that? Let's see. Enable you here. Expand, enable. Cheats, expand, enable. You go here, expand, enable. And loot box. No errors. Don't add microtransactions to Necrotype Cafe. Stop yours. I would never. Oh boy, I've been down that path before, and so many things have been regretted, I say. Let's see. This guy here, I just want it to fill as much as it can. So you there, fill up as much as you can. I'm wondering why the data does not rearrange itself depending on the sizing, which is a little unfortunate, but it's okay. Let's see. We'll have you go there, you go there. It should automatically resize itself, but it's not resizing itself. And Necromancer. Oh, that imagine it sounds like a scientist, like a microscope. Let's see. Save you there, move you that there, move you that there. That goes there. And then that guy goes there as well, like so. And back to our game state. It is kind of sort of functioning, but it's not updating the way we need it to. So let's go back into this guy here, make sure that our guys are properly labeled. For example, I see you there, you there, you there. There's like a double space, which is super duper odd. Maybe it's a case of removing these guys here. You should just be your name possibly. And then it's not updating it once the TBD. If is active. Do we have to activate you, my chads? Perhaps. Let's see. If I use you there, we click on you there, go ahead and remove you there, go ahead and move you there. There we go, and save. And if is active. I suppose then what we have to do is go back up to here. If do show enable, and then we set is active equal to a true and TRUE. Okay. Give it a another world. Let's see if I click play on you now. What do we have? Click on levels, click on you, then here we get to be determined. Interesting, interesting. Okay, well, I'm curious to see, do we ever actually go into this update level data? I'm wondering. Clicking on play, let's see if that breakpoint does break into it, and we get the answer of we do indeed. So then our current game state.name, is it not getting the current game state.name? I wonder. We can always print it, and I shall in a second. Looking at this, we have current game state. Where are you at? Oh boy, there's so many of these. When did you all get here? Current game state, current game state, current game state. We do have a current game state. We just don't apparently have the name, it seems like. Exit game state, all of those guys there. Yeah, they do exist, which is good. I'm then going to copy you here. And then let's see if I just do print. This is going to spam everything, but I'm curious to see what it's going to say. So I click on that now. What do we get? Let's see. We get, click on play here, click on play here, click on play here. Game State Cafe. Lovely. That's good to know that that is functioning properly. Now the question then becomes, why is it, oh, you know what? I believe it is because we never update it. So what we need to do is we need to attach it. It's being assigned, but it's not being updated. For example, in our game state data here for our container set, what we need to do is we need to then update all of them. So for example, for game state data, and what we need to do is do for data in game state data, then we'd have to do something like game state.update. In this case, we do .set data. So we can go ahead and do this guy here. So for data in game state data, we can then go ahead and have you go here. And then we can do, I believe, it should be possible at the very least, you there, and then grab you here for data. And then we do dot, and then we do .set data. So set, and then set underscore data here. Ooh, that's gonna be a little bit tricky. I think it's possible though still. I think it should be still possible. We take the set data of that. We then grab our data here, which is whatever first one we're doing. So set data, we grab that guy there, and then we grab the this guy. Oh, straight. Okay, you go there, I think, and then we do that there, and I think we do this here. That doesn't look right. This doesn't feel right. Something's off about that. Can't find member, set data in string. Hold your horses. That means we have to do data like, I think this here, data dot set data like that, I think. And then we have data dot set data. We grab the data, which is going to be this guy here, and that's what I'm wondering about. And hi, Wakaches! Welcome in the stream. Welcome in, and happy belated birthday. I hope you had a fun stream. Good news is you're wishing me an early birthday. My birthday is on the 5th. The thing is, though, since I don't stream on the 5th, we did an early celebration. But thank you regardless for both the belated day of celebration as well as the early celebration as well. Thank you, and welcome in the stream. Welcome in via scam. The thing is, I wanted to make sure a stream was dedicated to it, and I thought usually Fridays are the fun days, and when people seem to have the freest amount of time, so that's why we choose Friday as the set date of the celebration. Let's see. I'm wondering why this is a little bit funny. So our new container data, grab all of you guys here. What I want to do is wonder about our parents and all of those guys. So we have here our game state data. We have a game data container, and it connects to a node parent and then a static data set. And that node parent is going to be whatever the first guy is, along with a dictionary. So that's to say we have a string to string here, string to string here. Then we need to go through all of these guys here. So depending on whatever child it is, and this is where it's a little bit tricky because we don't have a parent to do certain things. I'm thinking what we have to do is this guy is populating with the game data labels that we have already. So what we should do instead is grab the children of our game state container, something like this here. And then what we say is for data, so for data, and then we say in game state container, So let's see, in game state container, and not streaming on the 5th, enjoying your birthday outside of streaming like any normal person? How dare you? Well, the thing is, it'd be perfect if it lined up with the streaming schedule, but it doesn't, unfortunately. Maybe next year. I don't know what May 5th looks like next year, but mayhaps perhaps one day when the stars align, I can spend the day on stream. That'd be fun. So let's see, for data and game state data, and that's why I'm not too sure. I'm thinking we could have it just assign it to a variable, and this is what I'm not sure about. Is it a static variable, or I know at least in C++, pointer-wise, when you point to something, it keeps that idea of what it's pointing to originally. But I'm wondering, if we assign it something, is it going to point to the original, or is it going to point to the copy? Because if we update the original, the copy doesn't update because it's a copy. So, and 2027 May 5th is a Wednesday? I don't stream on Wednesday either. Wait, well, hold on. If the Wednesday is the 2027, that means that 2027, 2028, 2029, I'll be able to celebrate my birthday on stream since it'll land on a Friday, if I'm understanding that correctly. And look at the stars, you have a mission! Oh boy, and a copy if copy is looking at the address, then yes. How do I copy address? That's an interesting one. Could you elaborate a little bit? I'm curious to hear about that one. Let's see, for game state and current game state, yeah, because we're copying the names. That's why it's static. Maybe that's why I left the static incomplete, because I realized, yeah, that's gonna be a second, a good old hot second here. I'm wondering, for our process here, if we can assign it instead. Oh, okay, I got a smidge of an idea. Maybe, possibly. What we can do is to grab the current game state, and depending on whatever the current game state is what we look around it for. So instead of these guys here, what we'll do is, okay, how can I describe this? First, let's remove this guy here. We'll pass in the update data. Then what we can say is, we will grab the first, second, and third, I think might be the best way to do it, and put it into the guy here. So let's go into our, how can we do that? How can we do that? Okay, let's do this as a function, I think would be our best bet. And y equals and x, I'd say. I haven't heard of that, but that does sound familiar. And all right, let's 2 more years. I might be done with the tutorial by then, almost certainly. But maybe we'll be on to other things. Let's see, I feel as though I've heard that and before, and you have too much faith. Oh, hold on now. If we go down to here and, hold on, let me see. Godot for address, AD, is it 2 Ds? Hold on. Addresses, yes, ADDRESS. And what pops up for that? Godot address and. Let's see. In Godot, the $ is used to get the node, and the $, I do see that one. Interesting. Okay, hold on. Let me bring out the board. I think that'll be easier to describe what I'm trying to look for. If we go back up here, we go back up to here. The thing is that we have a guy that we need to get the information of. So we have the pause, let's see, pause, P-A-U-P-A, that's not a U, U-S-E. We have the pause, we need to get the exit, E-X-I-T, exit, and we need to get the name. So N-A-M-E, name, N-N-A-M-E, we have the name here, and then we have the current state. So C-U-R-R-E-N-T, current, E-N-T, current, S-T-A-T-E, S-T-A-T-E. And I want it to check all of these variables every time it updates, if it's enabled or disabled. So, and there's C-Wave, not Godot though, that makes sense. I know for certain there's a way to do it in C++, but that makes sense that it's not Godot, unfortunately. So, this here, we take the current state, and then what I'm thinking is, we can make as many of these, what's it called, tags as you want. So, we need this information, and then we have a list of the information here. So I'll just do we'll just do this guy here. These guys here need to have that information updated. So what I'm wondering is, if we make a function in the game state that returns these guys here and updates them, I think that might run a little bit better. So if we have a function for our current state that gives us back the name, the pause, and the exit, so it gives us back 3 strings, or assigns 3 strings depending on them, I think that might work out a little bit better. And hi, Les! Welcome in the stream, welcome in, and welcome back. I hope you've been well. I think this will work out. We make a function to get this data, and then we just save that data anytime we're updating. I think that might work out a little bit better. So, passing by for the happy birthday, thank you, Lesk, thank you. if I bring you back into programming here, let's see. That's to say, if we go into our game state and we go into back into game state. So game state here, game state GD, we can have get information, something like that, I think. And I don't get the address issue, but I assume it might work like in Python. Oh, I have no clue how Python works. So non-primitive values objects are already addressed. Could it be so? Maybe that's what I'm not sure about. I think I like this method of, let's see, function. And then, now do we want to do a return of, okay, function here, we do set or get, let's see, get labels, get names. I kind of like that one. I think that works. Let's see. Self name, self underscore name is going to be a string, and then we're going to grab here our pause name, pause underscore name, and then we set it to a string, and then we have our exit name, and then we make that into a string. So string here like that, and then we do a void here. So void like that. I think that could work. And then here, what we do is we set the self name equal to name. We then say that if pause name equals, so if pause screen, there we go, pause screen, if pause screen, then we set the pause name equal to pause screen.name, like that. Otherwise, else we go ahead and set the pause name equal to nothing. And then we set it to equal to nothing, I think, like that there. And then we say, no, actually, I like that a lot better. No, like that. And then if we grab this guy here, and I don't like the way this feels. Something feels off about this. I know that for certain. And what was the purpose of a void? Void just means it doesn't return anything. So if you don't plan to get the information back from whatever function you're getting, then you set it to void. And me neither. I don't know why the topic's even arisen. And hold on, I don't know non-prison works. And for a quick glance, what says from a glance, what do you make sense? I see. The thing is, right now we're having a bug. To explain how we got here, the thing is, there's a bug currently going on in the game, and it's not allowing us to see, or let me show you. If I just very quickly go back into, let's see here, go back into debug screen. Are you angry? I think we're good. Okay, click on play here. Right now we're having a bug that's crashing. So in order to solve the bug, I'm updating the debug tool in hopes of making things clear to understand. And with saying that though, to get to the debug itself, it's figuring out how to translate that. So in our game here, the issue we're running into is that for some reason, the screen changes its type and its pause and its exit and all different variables that are hidden on the screen when I try to run the tutorial. So we get a crash because of something in the background. So I'm trying to make a tool to debug it so I can see what's happening in the background while the game is running. That's why we're doing all of this. And it doesn't allow us to see. That's an important problem though. Yes, indeed. It doesn't allow us to see unless you admit the pun way. Oh boy. Let me go ahead and now back on our debug, or not, game state here. And then we set this pause screen, we set the exit name to here. So if the exit name, you grab the exit screen here, exit game state, and then we go here for if exit game state. So now my hope is that we grab the names here, we copy you here. We can then grab back in our debug screen here. We can grab the current game state and change the names from here. That was the hope. And yeah, seems like pause screen is losing its reference. Yeah, that's why I want to see if we can get the nulls, if we can understand it, because we could read it here. We could have it printed. I think it'd be easier to see in game instead of having it come out here. So that's why I'm spending some time side questing this here to see if we can understand it a little bit better. So in our process now here, what we can hopefully say is that we have game state here. We have this new game state. We have all of those guys good to go there. Then I'm thinking now we just need to link up this guy here, this get names from our node. So in our update data, what I'm thinking we can say is that utility.current game state, so .current game state dot, and then we have here our get names, and then whatever names we put in here will be the names that are assigned. So this is where I'm thinking maybe we don't allow it to populate. I like that better. I like that a lot better. Okay, yeah, that's what we'll do. We will, instead of generating it, instead of worrying about any of those arrays or any of that, let's do that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that if else statement defines if pause name equals a null or if pause name screen like a Boolean, right? Hold on. I could have certainly written it incorrectly. Yes, we're checking to see if this thing exists. If it does exist, give us the name. If it doesn't exist, say it's null. That's what that's doing. If it is null, then say null. If it's not null, give us what's in there. That's what that's saying. And if upon names are null, yep, kind of like a boolean. It's just checking to see if it equals null. This is what it's doing behind the scenes. But instead, I can just rate this to see if that is a thing. Let's see. Let me go ahead and click on you here, back in here. Instead, what I'm going to do here for level data is we're going to just have these guys exist already. I think that's a little bit easier instead of trying to make them on the spot. So we have a debug data container. We could then add this guy, for example, and then we'll say that you go here like that. And then we'll move you up to here instead like that. We have our games container, then we have our debug data container, yep, and then our label sheet title. So now on our debug data container, we'll add 3 of these guys here. You are going to be instead now are, let's see, game state name, and then we're going to have our game state label. So let's see, game state data, or game state container. Let's see, data, game state data container. We'll copy you here. We'll then say game pause, so pause, game state pause data container, pause, and then you're going to be our game state exit container. So game state exit container, exit. EXIT, like that. And this way we can directly control them and we don't have to worry about things getting randomized. And hi, random gang person. Welcome to stream. Welcome in. Howdy, and welcome into stream. Welcome back. And oh, okay, I'm learning stuff. Lovely. That's the thing. Hopefully I'm explaining things in the easier way to understand, because I know, oh boy, do I know that things can get a lot confusing super duper quickly. And half the time, I truly do believe that I am doing things I really don't need to do when I'm going down rabbit holes I don't need to discover. But that's half the battle. This is learning what is required and what's not required. So I'm happy that things are making sense. And I forgot how hyper you were. Welcome back in. I'm glad. Well, hopefully it was a pleasant surprise. From here, what we'll do then is, with this said, now we can modify this and we can say, instead of update data, well, which we can still do, but we'll go ahead and pass this guy. Now we can say instead is, we can grab this guy here. Hold on, function. We can say update game state data, update update game underscore state underscore data. We'll set you to a void here because we're not wanting anything back. And then after that, what we'll do is do game state level container. So these guys here, we have this guy here, we have this guy here, and we also have this guy here. We just need to update them now. And tunnel vision go brr. Oh boy. And the thing is as well, I don't know if I would describe it as tunnel vision. It feels more just like an avenue I have yet to go down. And yeah, avenue I've yet to go down, and I still need to remember that it's a thing. So we have game data container now, and we do dot, and then we can now say, let's see, game data container dot, I believe we can do set data, or let's see what it allows us to do. We have the ability to do debug data container. We have set data. So we do the set data. We have new variable is static. I see. Well, that's fine. New title, and then we have the new is static. Interesting. Yeah, Ultimate was doing something I have no idea of. Oh, that's funny. We have cannot add data label if new variable is null. Interesting. Huh. Label data plus new title equals you here. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. In that case, because I don't want to redesign this, I have no idea what's going on here. I'd have to sit down and do it more. Let's modify this just a little bit to fit our hope. Let's just go ahead and do we'll do func, we'll call this set basic data here, data. And from there, we're going to do something super duper simple. We are going to take a title and we're going to take a variable. So we'll just do a var here, var title, title, and then we'll go ahead and just set this to a string. And then we'll also just do this as variable, varia variable, and then we'll also set this to string. And then from there, we're just going to grab this guy here, and we're going to set label debug title name equal to title. And then, oh, also, I like the idea of calling this new instead. So we'll also set this to new. So new there we go. New title, new variable, and then we'll also set this to new variable name as well. And then we'll duplicate this guy here, and then let's see, label material.name, set dot label to, or dot, let's see, text, dot text, there you are. Dot text, copy you here, paste you here, and then we'll also grab you here, and grab you here, and grab you here. I will figure this out later on what that exactly does, but we just need this. We just need a way to set them all. That's all I wanted to do. Now we go back to our debug screen here, and back to these guys. Now what we can say is dot set basic data. We just take the title, and we just add the data. So now, hopefully, what we can do here is grab this guy here, hold on, grab this guy here, and then grab this guy here. So current game state is going to be that title there, and then you would add whatever goes here. So we'll go ahead and copy you here, copy all of you here, paste you to here, paste you to here. We'll then go ahead and grab you here like so, grab you here. So pause screen is going to be pause screen here. So it goes to there. There we are. And then we can go ahead and grab our exit screen and add the exit screen here like that there. We'll then go ahead and instead of giving us back a string, because I really didn't like that, we also don't need our game state data anymore, which is lovely also to hear that we can delete a lot of this other stuff as it's getting easier a little bit to understand. I'm understanding things a little bit more as I'm slowly doing this. Now what we need to do is back in our game state, because this thing didn't make sense and I'm so glad we won't do this. Back in our game state, all of that, yuck, don't like it, didn't like it, definitely didn't like it. We'll go ahead then and go back to our debug guy here, and instead we're going to have a utility of some sort or something to check if it is or get name of node. I like that idea. So what we'll go and do is do in our utility here, we'll do utility, and then we'll see about, go back down here, as it's a new function, and I want to be able to use this everywhere. So we'll have a function here, and we'll have a function called get name of node, get name of node, and it is going to return a string. So it's going to return a string here, and then we'll have here, and then we'll see about node to name, so node _to _name, and we don't know what it is. So we can just say that, nothing here. No, this guy brackets, because we're not sure what we're getting. So I'm just going to call it that there. And then what we can say is that if node to name, if node to name equals null, equals null, we return null here, null. Otherwise, we return, let's see, return, we return node to name dot name. There we are, node to name dot name. Now, why are you angry? Could not parse singleton. Interesting guy here. Oh, that's right. Hold on. Could not parse singleton. I'm wondering, do you want to be labeled as like a node of some sort? Does that make you happier, Godot? Is that what you're looking for? Are you looking for something else? Oh, hold on. Up here, create dish. Huh. Why are you modified? Hold on, close utility here, reopen utility here, utility, hold your horses here. Now it's fixed. It's always the little things that I'm not too sure about. But what we can do now is back in our debug guy here, 26 seconds left. Okay, back in the debug guy here, whole point is now that we can go, for example, here, we can do utility dot, so utility dot, utility dot, we do get name of node, and then we would, for example, do here utility dot, and then we do current, so current, let's see, current game state, and then we would do current game state, and then dot name. That would be the hope, that guy right there, or current game state, there we are, like that there. That's what we do when we do for the other ones too. Okay, Admic running now. Oh my, okay, click the button should run, we should be good to go. I'm so surprised 3 hours is already read. It always, what's the thing? It feels harder to start doing things than it is to end it. And I know, I forget from where, I think it was from a book, but it was the idea of if you've been wanting to get a hobby or do something else, just doing at least 1 minute of something can help go a long way. I know, I definitely do need to get back into doing piano at some point because the game, music, I need to do the music of the game. That's what you hear here. Hold on, if I pause this here. For a second or two, oh, never mind, hold on, I have to close this guy out. All the music you hear in the game, I did make. And fun thing is that we, at one point, also held like a music jam. So instead of a game jam, it was music themed, and people were able to create songs around different wizards that will get added to the game. So 3 of these songs in the game will be made by viewers like you. Thank you. Where's that from? I think it's, I forget from where, but it's nice to see as well that the creativity of everyone. It's super duper lovely. The music that's playing here though, I'm happy with it because going into this, I didn't expect that to make a rhythm game you would have to understand music. That was one of the things of why it's definitely harder to do. And I also do want to get back into piano one day. I had lots of fun with that as a kid. I have never really touched piano. Barely any, not at all. I have been on and off of it like it has been for me with learning languages. And so piano one day, Japanese one day. And if I can do Japanese, then I would want to do like Spanish or Portuguese. I'm not sure which of the two, but that would be the next language to get down. And if I can do 3 languages, oh boy, the possibilities. And I struggle with getting started part lately. Yeah. One thing I've done recently recently is I've gotten a little timer that I can use that it doesn't, no, what's the word for? I have a little timer now. It's not a timer on my phone. It's like one of those physical timers that you can set down and see the time of. Doing that has been a lot easier because when you set a timer on your phone in the background, you don't really see the timer unless you're clicking on the widget of the timer. So having like a physical timer that shows the time ticking down has definitely helped me do more things and get started into things. Since the thing of, right, I'm gonna set this timer for this thing and I can see the timer doing the thing. And I can teach you Chilean Spanglish or Spanish. It's a perfect normal type of Spanish. Oh boy, it reminds me of the fact that there's like languages within languages. There's so many, I tell you, it's just lovely. But my mind can only handle so much, which is unfortunate. But one day, I tell you, it started off with me wanting to learn French and then wanting to learn Russian, and then I was all over the place, and now I've landed on Japanese since. A lot of the artists that I like looking at, oh, Korean too. Korean was another one, because a lot of the artists I like looking at, they have tutorials, but they're all in a different language, and it's a little bit tricky to try to translate it as I'm trying to understand things. So yeah, languages. Oh boy, when I get there, I will certainly get there. Let me get a little bit of tea here. Tea has been acquired, and the ad break is just about up. So, shall we get back into things? I think so. I think so. Let me go ahead and close this guy here. Let me go ahead and enable the music, and now we should be able to, in theory, quote unquote, be able to just remove that guy there, grab our utility, get, go. Oh boy, let's copy you here. Let's copy you here, and then let's copy you here. And then this is not going to be our current game state, or it is, but it's going to be our pause screen. So dot pause screen. And then this guy here is going to be our dot, and then it's going to be our exit screen. So exit game state. There we are. So exit game state is actually what it's called, game state. There we go. So if this is all done correctly, which I'm hoping it is, to finish this off, all we have to do is if active update data, we just put that guy there in case we want to add more updated data. We save it, and then let's click on play and see. And and how many languages do you want to learn? Yes, I see. Yeah. Let me go ahead and mute this guy here. Let's see if all of that things and all of those theoretical ideas mattered, if they worked, or at least we get started on them. We have, look, it works. Take a look at that. Take a good old gander. We can now see the current game state and everything else. Let me go ahead, and if I click on you here and click on you here, click on you, let's see here, hold on. I can't see it. Oh, there we are, lovely. Okay, now if I enable it a little bit more and I slide this guy up, hopefully you should be able to see it a little bit clear. This was the information I wanted. Because for some reason, the game is getting angry at certain parts in the game. What I can show you, I believe, is, ooh, interesting, hold on. I wonder, is it that we have to set this debug screen to be, oh, hold on, I think I have a good idea. Let's close this guy for now, temporarily. Let's then go back to the debug screen. Let me make it so that the process mode is always. Interesting, huh? Always disable pausable when pause inherent. Interesting, huh? I wonder why our pause menu doesn't update then. Because I set it to be immune to different game states, or at least if I click here, I expect it to see, or no, actually, never mind. The game state still, this makes sense, never mind, I take it back. That does read well. So we're in the cafe. That is our current game state. We are cafe. We have the options menu as our pause, and to exit the state, we would have to go to the spellcasting state. So if we go into here, we are now in the spellcasting area. To begin the other game state, I would have to hold down Q, and now we are in the spellcasting game state, though I can't see it. So let's make sure that this guy also is the, let's see. Let me close this guy here. Let's go back to our cafe here, and if I go ahead and click on our debug screen here, I want to make sure you're on our highest layer. So I'm going to do like 5. That should be 5. And I think 5 is a high enough number that it should go over everything we click on. So we go back to levels here, we click on you here. Yeah, look at that. We can see everything now. So if we're in the spellcasting, what I'm expecting to see is that the current game state, because we are exiting out of it, we should go to spellcasting, and instead our exit should go to cafe. So the current and the exit should be swapped when we start spellcasting. And they are. You can kind of see it. Spellcasting and cafe. And when I exit out of them, they get swapped again. So exit, end. If I can hold on, click on here, and click on enter, look at that, cafe. That's how the game works currently, is that they exist in different states. We have the options menu was the pause menu. So the reason why I wanted to check the game state is because, hold on, let's see, transform, process, there should be like a mouse mode, I believe, hold on. I can't click buttons in our debug screen. Is there a way to do like a pass or something? Hold on, I click back to you, we have process mode, all of you guys here. How do we make you follow through? Mouse ignore, I want to ignore you. Mouse, ignore. You are, ignore, but all of you aren't ignore, possibly, let's see. Mouse should be set to inherited, filter, ignore. Yeah, filter, ignore. Let's set you to be mouse ignore, there we go. I think you need to be set to ignore as well, ignore here. Click on play again, try that out, and what do we have now? We go back into here, go back into you here. We click on you here. I can't click on main menu still. It still doesn't let me pass. And what are you making? Hi, is it Savas? Possibly. Welcome to the stream. Welcome in and welcome back. And please correct me if I'm wrong in your name. Currently, we are working through the tutorial, and I made a debug tool to hopefully help us with understanding the game mode at the moment, since it's breaking. I can show you that if I click on, hold on here. If I hide this guy super duper quickly, I can give you a little rundown. If I type in here prototype, and then we go here, I am currently making a rhythm typing, oh, hold on, not prototype, sandbox. Sandbox is the one I need to click on. I'm making a rhythm typing cafe game replay as a necromancer. You're sent to a necromancy academy, but you don't want to become a necromancer. You want to become a baker, a chef. So you open up a little hidden cafe in a part of the school. And if I go and hide this music and show this music here, I can give you a look. So you have customers that come in because it is a cafe set, and you have to serve the different customers different types of foods. In this world, magic is done a little bit differently. You have to do it by poetry, so the characters have to say the poems aloud in order for magic to happen. So in that case, you have to type out the poems to the beat in order to summon food to serve the other customers. So we go ahead and take this customer's order right about here, and we open up our menu. There's a few things that pop up. The idea is that each wizard has a different way of doing different spells. In this case, necromancers here, they have the flavor of bitter associated with them, as well as the color of purple. So whenever you're spell casting, they have different things assigned to that. In this example, necromancers, whenever you do a spell associated with them, the music is fancy. But many mancers here, which are our healer wizards, their music happens to be sweet. So when you combine sweet with bitter, you get easy songs that have a fancy background. And as you go along, you'll unlock more wizards and more flavor combinations, as well as different food combinations, which you can see here. So we have cookies, cakes, that'll be unlocked. And to show you the rhythm part of the game, if I go back here, you'll grab items from the bookshelf, go hold this die down, and then you'll have the rhythm typing part. So W-I-T, and then you have H space T, and then H, and then R, and that's the entirety of the game. There's more things that will be added, but that's it in a gist. The rhythm part and the typing part, and I know you're getting impatient, you don't have to say as much. And I can also do exclamation NECROTYPE. If you'd like to play the prototype, it is on itch at the moment. It's not this exact version, but the cafe is there, the spellcasting is there, and the hope is that while we are making this, the prototype and the demo will go up on itch, and then the full release will go up on Steam. I've been working on this game for about almost 2 years, when I thought it would take me 6 months, but the thing is, it's the second game I've ever made, and the first game I made in under 24 hours, so it's really the first game, and it's fun things, but hopefully that did at least pique your interest at least a little bit. And what we were currently doing was we were trying to debug the calibration of the tutorial. We're working on overall the tutorial, but right now there's a certain part of the tutorial that's a little broken. So we're in the game state of cafe, we have the pause screen of options, and we have the exit state of spellcasting. That makes sense, but for some reason, when we're here, when we start spellcasting, we get a crash. Like that. And that's where I'm wondering, because we're getting a null, so can we at all get like a glimpse of what's going on here if I move that down here? Huh. Interesting. It won't let me see it. That's super duper interesting. Okay. Hold your horses. What if we click on you there, click on play? Can we at all get the update before the update happens, or it just doesn't happen because it's just null? That is an interesting one. Okay, let's go back into here. Hold on Q to start up the map, and then undo there. Click on the game here. Okay, so our current game state should be set to spellcasting. The pause screen, and let me enable this again to make it a little bit easier to see. The game state should be spellcasting. The exit game state should be, what is it called? Cafe, and the pause screen should be set to options. Right now, we haven't gotten to the crash. This is the breakpoint. So let's go from here a little bit. And hi, Claymore. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back. Typing? Yeah, that's the game in a nutshell. Typing to the beat. I've been having a lot of fun making it. So let's see. With that said, let's go from here now. Now that we have a better visual representation of what's going on, let's do the steps and go from there. Back in our scripts here, we have the pause screen of disable spellcasting options. And I'm wondering, is it the case our pause screen right now is set to null? If I hide this guy here. So somewhere along the lines, we set the pause screen to null and the exit game state gets set to null. And I'm wondering why that's the case. The thing is, we noticed right away when we were in the game that the game states were set properly, but for some reason they get set to null when we start spellcasting. So with that said, let's see about going back into our calibration area. So our calibration screen here, no, spellcasting minigame. Let's see, spellcasting minigame, I think. Back to you here. Something to do with here. Let's go back to our cafe, go back to our table, because the table controls the spellcasting. Back to here. I think it's going to be a case that the issue was happening right about here, I think. Oh, no, not spellcasting process. Hold on. Let's see. And hi, Hardronics. Welcome in the stream. Welcome in. Hey, yo, sunshine. Hey, yo, everyone. How's it going? Well, thank you. And let's see. I know there's a Willy Wonka saying is the sun says hello. welcome in the stream. I hope everyone's going well. I'm having a fun time, a tricky time, since that's what programming is, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. Let's see. What we need to do is we need to go to the enter calibration. This guy here, I believe he is the cause of all of our pain. Current game state.exit. For example, if I were just, wondering things, if I were to just remove you there and we weren't to exit the game state, how might one react to such a change in mood? Let's say if I click back onto you here and then go back to you here and we go back up to here and here, what happens? I am curious. No. Aha, would you take a look at that? Interesting. So the case is that once we do this guy, we need to figure out the two differences and latency. Oh, it's calculating. I see. Interesting. Okay, so something's different between here and here. That's the issue at the moment. And here and here and here and there and all over. And we're all here and we're in there. And interesting. I'm glad it piqued your interest. So let's see here. Why are we angry? We should be able to stop the background music. That's good to go. We start the calibration and it says to hide the game over state. If we go ahead and you do that, and then we go into start calibration, and in our start calibration, Control Shift F and fine. In our connect, what do we do for calibration? We enter calibration. From here, we set up a lot of different things, and then we start the spellcasting minigame. That does make sense. That makes a lot of sense. So the question then becomes, what's the difference between our enter calibration and our start spellcasting minigame? Because we do both. But it seems to be the case that we don't enable the spellcasting screen. That's the difference it seems to be. So, where are we enabling the spellcasting screen? What you can see here is that we have a thing called run spellcasting. That's different. So if we click on you here, we have randomize the song, stop the background. We then have, let's see, current spell, get random spell. We have print, we have make the dish, we have hide the game over, and then we have the start spellcasting minigame.emit. Interesting. Hold on, Control Shift F, fine here. We have .emit, there should be like a .connect, one of these guys here. And then a .connect, if I click on you here, we do these guys. Are you different? We have start spellcasting minigame. Where do we have the calibration? Enter calibration. Start spellcasting minigame. Okay, so one of these things is not like the other. That's what I'm wondering about. Who's doing what? We have here, for example, our start spellcasting minigame, but where does it show true? Where does it enable the visibility? We have here our spellcasting screen. So we have, let's see, this guy here. Where are we using this guy? When is this guy getting enabled? That's what I really want to find out. Is there a way I can see where you're used at? We have load, make local, we have attach, we have rename, we have reparent. I don't think there is a way. If we go into the scene itself, we go into this guy here, where are we showing and where are we hiding at? We have set no fail, we have process here, we have create speech, text, update all of you guys here. On continue button, show game over screen, we have enable. That's one that we haven't seen before. Okay, well, where do we use enable at? If it's gonna be a little bit hard to find because we don't have an underscore here. So on enable, there's a lot of enables. That's why, yeah, a lot of enables here. Oh boy. Okay, so we can't do it that way. I'm wondering, where do we use our spellcasting screen at? Can we just do a thing of spell casting, casting, hold on, Control-Shift-F, spell casting underscore screen here, and I were to do find here. Let's see, spellcasting screen. We have here for game state start spellcasting, enable, disable, all of these guys. So I'm wondering if it has to do with our game state spellcasting. Where do we enter it at? Are we entering it when we go from our cafe? And if you open in VS Code, you can search across the entire project for a string by pretending to search with by prepending or prepending the search with a %. I do know I don't have Visual Studio Code for this, at least, since I'm doing it in GDScript. I don't know how to do it in this one. And okie dokie, I'm done with today's schedule. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Ed. I hope you get some well-deserved rest and relaxation after working what I consume is a lot of business work things. I hope you had a lot of fun with it too. Our spellcasting screen here, where do we exit it? We have up here, if I go up here, we have a few things. We have a thing for connect and resetting. We have some utility here for hide and show. We have here a clear spellcasting screen. We have a here for our spellcasting screen show. So utility.show, that is one that shows up. So where do we emit that at? We have clear, we have spellcasting screen enable, and that's for our game state. So then it makes me wonder, for our spellcasting game state, where do we exit out of our game state? And I learned stuff beyond human comprehension! That sounds about right. Was it? Eldritch Wise, not the man in the yellow hat, the what is it called? I forget which Eldritch thing, but the yellow one, the Yellow King. There we are, the Yellow King. A lot based on the Eldritch things, at least the theming wise, since it deals, I believe, with creativity. Yeah, Yellow King, my favorite one. Yeah. Creativity was the idea behind that one. Knowledge beyond your wildest dreams. Let's see. Spellcasting screen here. You here. Scroll down. Now, I'm thinking if we go to our spellcasting desk, where are we removing or where are we exiting out of our game mode? We have here our hide game over page. Where are we doing exit at? We should have some sort of like exit enter. And our start spellcasting mini games. Let's see, spellcasting desk here, spellcasting screen. Nope, we want spellcasting desk now, which would be down here. There we are. Hello, desk. You here. Okay. In our run spellcasting, where do we exit our game state? We go from run spellcasting here, we do all of these things here, and then randomize, stop, we do all of that there, hide game over, we start the spellcasting minigame .emit. Start spellcasting minigame, I would assume this guy here would change over our state, or do you not? Let's see, if we do you here, new here, and hi, is it Fetty? Welcome to the stream, welcome in, and welcome back. Hello, and how do? I do good, very good. I'm having fun. It's a little tricky since right now we're running into a bug with something breaking when it shouldn't break. But aside from that, we're doing pretty good, I'd say, and I hope you can say the same as well, that you do good, and it do be. Let's see, if I go to you here, now our connect start spellcasting minigame, where do we change the game mode? Oh, you know what I just realized? Hold on. If we do utility dot, and then we do utility dot current game, not game level, hold on. Current game something. Hold on. Go back over to, you here? I think, no. We need to go back to the debug screen. Yeah, go back to you here, debug screen. Okay. You here. Where do we use the current game state at? This will tell us everything we need to know, and that's a lot of theirs. I said this before, but in our utility, the utility is the only script I have not refactored since the almost 2 years of working on this game. It's not been refactored because it's always changing, so a lot of this here is dead code. A lot of it is, and I assure you, this is the only messed up place. And eventually, once I get to a good stopping point, I'm going to clean it up, but that there hurts. It does, but it's temporary, and oh boy, that's a lot of code it is. And hi, Nico. Is it Nico? Possibly. Nico Dave, welcome to the stream, and please correct me if I'm wrong as well. Welcome in and dating. If it's one thing I can say that I know this is dirty and this is, it's a little painful, it's this one right there. But you know what? It's the one spot. It's been contained. It's been controlled. Everywhere else has been refactored. That's fine. Let's go back to here. Now, the reason why I think this is an important place in the code to look at is because the current game state is how we disable, is how we change it. So the answer of our bug, I believe, lies between one of these 33 lines. One of these guys here is the culprit of why we can't swap properly. So if we just go down the list, it brought our, I think our number down from like 180 to 33. That's way more manageable. And I will eventually clean it up. That's what everyone says about their room. It's true, and I'm good. I wanted to thank you for the pixel art guide. I got into it over the last couple of months, and you really helped me out. Oh, that's always lovely to hear. And I'm glad you got started with pixel art as well. That truly is. It's the thing of, there's not enough pixel artists out there, and the more people that get into pixel art, the more guides that can come out. And I'm still learning myself. So the more people that learn and understand and comprehend, the more guides I can get personally. And oh boy, so many codes that's painful. Oh yeah, 100%. You have to keep in mind as well that this is the first time I've ever taken on a big project like this. The only other time I've ever worked on a game, I made a game in 24 hours, and so this is like the first ever time experiencing it. I know it's going to be dirty. I know it's going to be a lot. That's not the point of this. The point is to make a game. The next time I make a game, we can see about making it cleaner. But for now, it exists. That's all I want. And where did you learn coding? I went to school for game development. I learned C++ for about 2 years, and then I ended up dropping out. And while I was there, I made a project that was like a cafe sim, but you could type on it. And that final project I made, I ended up making into this game here. And when everyone's a pixel artist, no one will be. What do you mean? That just means more content, more things to watch and enjoy. So let's see here. Our spellcasting desk, where do we exit? We have utility.currentgamestate.exit here. And this is done when we start the, ooh, interesting. If Kala, oh, interesting. Okay, I think I understand it. I think this is our culprit. I think it's this guy. I think it is. And the reason why I dropped out is because when we were doing it, and I can show you as well, since we were talking about it a little bit earlier. If I go into Obsidian here, I can show you. When I was in college, we didn't get to work on game engines. It was only the console. And I didn't want to work on consoles and visuals like that. I wanted to work with actual sprites and art. So I did this, I tried it out and realized I could probably learn most of this on my own. And that's why we're here now. But this is kind of, you could consider the 1.0 version of my game without the rhythm part. But the idea of typing out the code in order to serve a customer. And I did it with the ASCII code here. Let's go back into programming here. Using C++, I thought using Godot code. I learned C++. Ever since dropping out, I learned GDScript. So the only programming languages I know are C++ and GDScript, which I've been told is pretty similar to Python. And is this Unity? This is Godot. And hi Gal. Thank you for the follow and welcome in the stream. Welcome in, and thank you, and thank you as well. Let's see here. But that said, I think our issue is if we're in calibration, we enter the calibration, then we need to run the spellcasting. So I wonder now, if in calibration, otherwise, so else, and then we need to do you here, and then we need to do that there, then we need to do you here, like that, and then I think this will solve all of our problems. Possibly. Let's see. If I click on that there. And JK, this is Godot. No, this is Discord. It is indeed a Godot. I've never tried out any other engine before, so I can't really comment on them, but when I first found Godot, I fell in love the moment I saw it. Let me go ahead and slide this guy down here. And no, this is Unreal Engine, where everything is with C++. Oh boy. I'm very visual, so having a colorful guy like this with the node and structure of it, I was really intrigued by. I was also intrigued by the fact that Godot is also open source. That was also super duper neat to find out, and also another reason why I decided to go with it compared to like Unity or Unreal. And with that said, let's try this out now. So, Game State Cafe, options menu, Game State Spellcasting. Let's see if we go up, and I've been looking at game dev and machine learning. Ooh, how fun! And does it have ray tracing? I could not tell you. I barely know game development stuff as it is. I have heard of ray tracing before. I think maybe I would not be the one to tell you. And saying, oh, that's lovely to hear. That is indeed. So let's see. When we enter this guy, I expect the current game state to swap with the exit state. I'm guessing it's going to be fixed now because we set it to exit. So, moment of truth now. Let's see. Holding down Q? We still get not too happy, which is okay. That's all right. That was somewhat expected. That's fine. Now why are you angry? It's saying it because it is a non-existent function. So it's still non-existent. That's okay. And technically yes, but it's incomplete. I see. And it does have ray tracing. Oh, that is nice to hear. I have heard a lot of good things about it. I forget what it is though. I just know it does exist. That was important to remember. Let's see here. Invalid call, non-existent function. So now why are you angry? I wonder. Back into our debug screen here. Back into hold on. You there. You're there. Yeah. Games passing. Hold on, copy here, click on play here. Godot always having anger issues. And ray traces your pretty face is 4K. How sweet. I see. It's the zoom and enhance type of things. The high quality. That makes a lot more sense than a Godot has anger. It does. It truly does. But you know what? It's like, we all have our problems. That's true. Let's see. If I go up to here and I go up to here, I'm hoping for the breakpoint to happen. And it does. And now, let's see. Back in our game here, we have Game State Cafe. We have, oh, you can't see me pointing to it. Hold on. If I click on you here, we have Game State Cafe. We have Options menu. We have Game State Spellcasting. We want these guys to swap, but they're not for some reason. If we go back into here, we can see if I hide this guy again. Oh, not that guy. Hide this guy. Oh boy. We have self, and our self here is our Game State. Yeah, game ended, pawn screen. All of these guys. An orphan. That's a new one. You know, I've heard of orphan notes before, but I haven't seen it in Godot yet, so what a surprise! My goodness. Oh boy, let's see here. If I slide you up, we have pause screen, we have exit screen, we have spellcasting screen. Who are you? What we're going to do is we're going to print the name. We'll do print here, and we're going to print out the name. Who are you? I need your details. What's going on here? And you made the function orphan errors. How could you? I did nothing of no sorts. Godot did it. Blame Godot. And hi. Is it Tekken? How does Tekken work? And please correct me if I'm wrong. I can certainly try again. I tend to butcher names though, so my apologies in advance. And I think my YouTube chat or YouTube chat's not working for me. That is unfortunate to hear. I do know YouTube chat's a little wonky sometimes. It's why, unfortunately, only Twitch chat is showing up on screen. The what is it called? The plugin I was using to show up things on screen. It sometimes works. It sometimes doesn't work. It's truly unreliable. But I can see YouTube chat. I can at least say that. And it's okay now. Oh, that's good to hear. That's lovely. So, back into here. Let's get the name. I want names. I want numbers. Oh, hold on. Wrong area. Okay, hold on, Kia. What do we get? Okay, the name of the culprit is... Where's the name at? Where's the name at? Hold on. Where is it? Yeah, you there. I'm very confused. Print name. Who's the name? Where are we at? Node name, string name, but it didn't print the name. The name's empty. It's an empty namespace. Who are we? Hold on. Now I'm really confused. Let's see. Yeah, exit. Okay. Game state dot exit. I'm wondering. Okay, hold on. Click on play. Let's try it normally when it doesn't break. And give me the names. And I'm Nico Dave. Oh, I see. Got ya. Well, welcome in from the other side. Welcome in. Let's see. Back here, when the game does it normally, when it works as it should, we have... Interesting. We don't go into the exit. Hold on. Back into here. Back into our calibration screen. No. Spellcasting screen here, possibly, or spellcasting menu. Hold on. Game state, game input, calibration screen here. You there. Don't need you. You're good to go. Path follower, don't need you as well. You here. Spellcasting screen, spellcasting desk. Go back to the desk here. Something's off. And I'm not quite sure yet. You tell me, Eris, who are we in that code? If I knew the question to that, do you think we'd be at this point right now? Oh boy. So let's see. With that said, it does slowly. It's fun. It's like a murder mystery, and you're the culprit, the victim, as well as the detective. Let's see. With that said, what I want to do then is, what's the difference between our start spellcasting and the difference between our start spellcasting process, so this guy here, we do this guy for start spellcasting, and then we also do hold on, enter calibration, delete eyes, run spellcasting here. Yeah, and then if you have you there, yep, there, and var dish, if you're there, you're there, you're there, run spellcasting. Okay, so we have this function we're working with. We don't need that one at this moment. I'm going to move this guy just so we can see them a lot easier, since everything can hopefully be a little bit clearer on screen. So I'm gonna move you down to here. This will be your new home for now. You'll be nice and cozy, don't you worry. And we'll move this guy back up here. Okay, so start spellcasting process. All of these guys. What I wonder is, do we go into this function normally? Is the thing I want to ask now. In here, doing all of these things, you here, go back to you here, go back to you here. We do enter you in here. It's not calibration, so we should go to the next guy. After all of those guys here, we do all of those things. Okay, and you'll be nice and cozy. Don't trust the words of a purple lady. Hold on now. I am a very trustworthy person. Doesn't this face just emanate trustworthiness down to the bone? Let's see here. Enter calibration. Something's off between that and run spellcasting. So, run spellcasting. What's different here? You have that there. We have start spellcasting minigame.emit, and then we have hide game over screen here. Current spellcasting, all of you guys there. What I think I want to do then is start spellcasting minigame.emit with spellcasting. I'm wondering, because the only difference I'm seeing is this guy here, but clearly that's not the only difference. Something else is not like the others. And yeah, it does. I'm messing X'd out. Hold on now. Oh boy. Click back to here. What's going on? We have for our enter calibration. The thing is, for our stop background music, we already do stop the background music. So that doesn't need to be a thing. That already does get to be a thing. We have stop spellcasting, and then we have run spellcasting. That guy prints this guy here. And then if we follow the threads, we have this guy who prints out start spellcasting minigame. That brings us to this guy here, who, when the start spellcasting minigame is done, we do a lot of things where we change the times and the spells, and we do casting entered and show spellcasting minigame. And then on here, we have our calibration. So back to our calibration here. Where are we at? Calibration, enter calibration. Enter calibration here. It sets the current map, it sets all of these things, and then it does start spellcasting. So this should work, or at least I would think it would, but it's not quite working in the way I hoped, which is where the things are getting a little bit tricky, which is fine. It's just that thing is slowly starting to chip away at it until we can create a wonderful statue. So let's see, enter calibration. You have start spellcasting minigame in you, so you should work out a-okay just fine. We have calibration map, we have the new calibration, we have all of those guys here. That works out well. So everything that happens in start spellcasting minigame happens in enter calibration. Those guys work already together. They're good to go. So when we call this run spellcasting, it is calling the same guy as our enter calibration. So the start calibration is doing the same thing as this guy here. What I then wonder is, since it's doing the same thing there, why are we a little upset? I wonder for this guy here, if we hide game over page, you there, you there. I'm curious, do we get an error here, or where exactly? It feels like one of those games you would play at like parties, pin the tail on the donkey, where you have the blindfold on and you're slowly trying to get closer and closer to the edge. That's what that feels like at the moment. We'll hold down Q then, and then let's see. Okay, so we don't get an error here. That's good to know. We've already started the spellcasting calibration to not emit it. Are we running the spellcasting then, starting spellcast calibration? Yes, we are. And then let's hide game over screen. We also do that guy there, and then we do current game dot exit. Yeah, okay. And then we exit. And our name here, we're still null. We still don't know who you are. So let's go back a little bit and rewind. Let's print out our name somewhere else then. Let's save this guy. Let's go back into our spellcasting desk here. So this guy right about you here. Hello, kind sir. We are going to now put you right about here. Yes, start calibration.emit and then print your name to make sure that we are still the same person that we should have been. And just name him Bobby. What could go wrong? Oh boy. You know, that sounds lovely, but then Bobby doesn't get angry is the thing. So he can't be named that. He's not an angry little creature. Erase you. In our print, it says spellcasting desk. Oh, hold on, wrong guy. We need to set you to utility dot current GameState.name. There we go. I'm expecting it to say spellcasting or cafe, but we're getting neither of those, which is where I'm getting confused at. So let's see. Levels here, you there, you there. Back into the tutorial, go back here, hold back Q, and we get you here. And what we get is, let's see, nothing again. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, go back to here. Go back up to here. Print that guy out. And then we'll do you here and remove you here, and we'll stop at you here. Yeah, okay. Close you, click on play for you here. Slowly narrowing down the field here. So back to here. Do we get the name now? We go up here, we go over to here, hold down the Q, and we get, let's see, enter calibration. Do we have the name? We do. Okay, so somewhere here is where we aren't able to, or we lose the name at, which is interesting. Okay, so back to here, then we can go ahead and remove this guy, remove you here. And now I'm going to add a paste for you here and a paste for you here, and then grab you here. So click on play again. And if that's the case, then we know somewhere along that signal, something's a little awry. So we'll click on you here, go back into you here, click on play here, hold on you here, and now we get you. Okay, so what that means is our start calibration, this guy here for our utility dot, is where the issue's at. So I'll go ahead and undo you here, Control-Shift-F to find it everywhere it's used in code, and it's used right here. Enter calibration. Hello, enter calibration. We'll go ahead and click on you now, and now what we can go ahead and have it say is print you here. So again, now that we're in this enter calibration, are we still able to understand what's going on? Do we still have the names and numbers? Has anything been removed yet? Go back to here, go back up to here, hold down Q here, and we get, we have game state still in cafe. Okay, so let's dissect this guy. First, we start off by setting the map, then we set the spell level, and then we set the game state. Oh, I see. Okay, calibration game state. Interesting. Okay, well then, we have a new guy to do then. Let's have this guy have a is in menu. Menu, let's set this to be a bool, and we'll set it equal to true by default. And then we'll set you to be here, copy you here, or is in menu. And if it is in menu, then we'll set the game state here. And I think it's doing this because there's a difference between the calibration when we're in the menu and when we're not in the menu. So is in menu will go there. And then after that, if is in menu here, in our enter calibration, let's go back to our utility enter calibration. So utility back up to here, start calibration equals enter calibration. We'll do this guy here for enter calibration, or is in menu here. We'll set this guy to a bool there, save that guy. And now back on our emit in our desk. So let's see, in our cafe here, we have our desk here. Start calibration, false. There we are. I think that might help. With that said, we'll copy that to there, not there. And hi, Holla, welcome in the stream, welcome in. I hope you've been lovely, and I hope your day, morning, afternoon, evening, or good night, or whatever time zone is time zoning has been lovely so far. And hello, enter calibration, looking good today. Can I invite you to a drink on this lovely night? It's 4:40 in the afternoon. Oh boy, it's never too late to have afternoon tea. Let's see, click on you here, go up to you here, and what do we get now? We get we get okay, so far so good. We are getting the name before and after for both. Let's go ahead now and remove this print guy here, save it, close it, play it again, and we get, let's see, and hi check, welcome back in the stream, welcome back in. We have been slowly chipping away. I don't remember where exactly you left at, but we're getting there. We're certainly getting there. I think it's been fixed. And said the alleged tea addict. Speaking of, let me get some more tea here. Thanks for the reminder. Oh boy, also the tea is getting hot, so I have to turn off the thingamajiggy. Okay, let's go back up here, hold on Q, and then the tea has been consumed. Huh? Hold on. Oh. Did you catch that? that. And you next time, lovely, love the live stream, because 4 a.m. in my country, time zoning, it sounds like, unfortunately. Though I do appreciate you coming here in the first place. It's nice to have all these new names, new faces, and that's a feature, right? Did you catch it? Oh boy, let's see. I click on this guy here, and I click on levels here. Hey, so we have a new bug going on now. Let me show you what's going on. So it's not crashing anymore. Good news. Bad news is, as soon as we start it, it closes itself like that. So you know, it's doing some things. Now it's disabling or it's hiding itself. So let's just keep going. And the good news is we're slowly getting there. That's always lovely to hear. And the bad news is that our print now is somewhere in the void, and which is why I've been trying my best to do these prints instead of those prints, because I can figure out where those prints live. If we go back into our spellcasting minigame here, let's just do a Control F and do a print. And where are we seeing print at? Anywhere here? This is old print stuff here. All of you guys. Lovely. No, that's not it. You there, you there, you there, you there. Yep. Okay. Somewhere along the line, we're printing utility game to current game state. So go back into spellcasting desk here, and you can leave it there. What's the worst that can happen? I could leave it there, but it's going to haunt me in my nightmares. I have standards, all right? I am clearly a professional. I know what I'm doing. Oh boy, let's go here, and let's nobody will know. Nobody's gonna know. He's gonna know. Oh my. Let's go back into our spellcasting desk here, and then down to our utility. We're looking specifically for our debug guy. You know what? It's probably in the debug screen if I had to guess. Our utility.current game state. Copy you here. Control Shift F. Find where we're doing here, and we have you there. Yeah, utility. Oh, hold on. Control Shift F. That. There we are. Fine. Who's printing it, huh? Show your hands now. Where are we printing it at? You there, you there, you there, you there. We have is not null. We have exit there. And hi. Oh, welcome in again, Hollow. And congratulations on a 40 streak. Oh my. Congratulations, not 40. 60. Entirely different. 60. That is a big number. And I do appreciate you making the streaks as well. It's always sweet to see. Let's see here. We have current game state. Where are we using our print at? I know you're here. You can't hide forever. You will be found eventually. We have you there, 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 you there. Someone's doing something, and I just don't know where quite yet. Let's go and close you here. And I'm a professional. Trust me, ma'am. You have a dumpster fire. That's not a dumpster fire. Hold on now. I don't know if I agree to putting these names down on the board here. Where are we doing print at? Control Shift F, print, and then that guy there. Find, let's see. Print happens in 79 areas. Okay, that shouldn't be too bad. We have a sprite wizard. We have a sprite wizard, a sprite wizard, a sprite wizard, Panku, signal visualizer. We have print current top panel, not you. Book, not you. We have cafe entities. I know we're not you. Target manager, don't have you. New customer. We have game state. Aha! Found ya! Hello there! Goodbye! There we go. Okay, save it now. And with that said, it shouldn't appear anymore. And going forward, I really do have to make sure I use my my safe-proof print where I can know exactly where it is in code at all times. Oh boy. And a fire would imply there's something still burning. That's a full explosion! Oh boy. Have you ever considered it's a lovely garden that I've been pruning over time, and it isn't overgrown? It's just there. It's a wild field. Let it be as it is, and let it sprout its wings and grow and flourish. Is there anything wrong with that? Let's see. With that said now, what we need to do is figure out why it's getting hidden. Back in our spellcasting minigame and back in our spellcasting screen. So let's go back to you here, you here. Let's go to you. Where are we at? Cafe desk. You here. Okay. So next up, now that we're in the desk here, let's go into our debug, or not debug, but calibration. Calibration. Where are we hiding? And it's full of bugs. I like that analogy. And the thing is, the bugs can be helpful, like ladybugs, or no, ladybugs are pests, aren't they? Like butterflies, and it can be the sashes of the previous fire. Oh boy. Let's go back up to here, and in our enter calibration, we also have these few things. So give me 1 second. My nose, I thought I brought tissue, I did not. Give me 1 second to go clear it. Be right back. To go now. I feel 10 times better. Let me grab the sanitizer here too, and we should be good to go. I'm so surprised we only have like 12 minutes left, and it feels like a little bit's been done, but also a lot of it's been done. And the good news is that since I do plan to start working on this more, my hope is that by the end of this month, the tutorial will be completed. And I hope to work on this post stream too, to get some stuff done, because tomorrow we'll also be working on this. So whatever I don't get done today, we'll also be working on. But I'm hoping at the very least we can get the calibration screen working. Maybe not in the next 10 minutes, but possibly by tomorrow. And oh yes, good luck with the tutorial. Thank you, Hartronics. Thank you, indeed. I'm going to need it. I know for certain. Oh boy. But good news is, it's been fun, and I've learned a lot, so it's been very enjoyable. So let's see here. We have player has started in-game calibration. Then we have start calibration, and then we have hide game over page.emit. What if we were just, I don't know. What if we just speaking in what ifs here? What if we remove you? What if we remove you from the equation? What if we send you home early? Let me click on this guy here, click on that guy here, click on that guy here, open that guy back up so you can see it, and then let's go back into here. And I gave myself 5 days to build a programming language. Dice. Oh, it sounds like you would. That just sounds like what's it called? A Sisyphean task. I think that's how you would say it. And by insert realistic date. For sure. It's still blinking. What have I done? What? Why? Huh? Have you ever considered that this is a problem? So what I do know, and that what I can see, and what I can say is that maybe you could notice it beyond the flashing light here, is that the cafe and the, hold on, let me enable this guy here. And what if we remove the entirety of the code? Well, then technically speaking, by my calculations, everything would be fixed. What I wanted to show was that with the debug guy we saw earlier, you can now see for certain something is definitely, something's off. Look at it, aside from the flashing, it changes back and forth between start and stop. Between the game, oh, it didn't do it that time. How odd, hold on. Hold on, let's go ahead and restart here. Go that there. Okay, back up to here. Hold down Q, maybe it'll do it this time, but it's swapping the 2 states. Yeah, it did it there, and now we're back in cafe. We shouldn't be able to exit the cafe, or we should be in spell casting. So, somewhere along the line, something else is also getting crossed in terms of wiring here, and I think we can figure it out with the remaining time we have. So let's see. Let me first start off by making a backup, because we are slowly getting through everything, and that's the thing as well, is that because we're working through old code, a lot of things are getting removed, a lot of things are getting added. If I just removed the entirety of the calibration and started at least somewhere else bare, it would be a big difference. And posture check sure can do. Thank you for that redeem. Thank you. Let me go ahead then, and scoliosis prevention. Oh boy, thank you. Let me go ahead and put up here backup, BACK, UP, there we are, and there we go. Commit and push. There we go. Okay, so now what we need to do is figure out why this guy right here is hiding and showing. We have run spellcasting, all of these guys here. We have this guy here, run spellcasting, that does the thing here. The thing is, this guy's also hiding the game over, so I'm going to keep it there. I don't think that's doing anything important, I say, and then it actually changes the entirety of things. From here, let's go back to the mini game, and after that, in our enter calibration here, where do we see enter calibration? What's the difference between this guy and the other guy? Why is the spellcasting screen being shown and being hidden? That's what I would want to know. And I don't know if we have the time to figure it out, but I do want to at least dissect it a little bit. Our spell casting screen here is in our game state for spell casting, I believe. Or where do we use you, kind sir? Let's see. This can be, this node is the percentage. Yep, that makes sense. 100%. Screens here, we have game state spellcasting, which gives us our option menu, and this guy here, game state cafe. Who uses our spellcasting screen? That's what I would be curious to find out. Who manages that? I would think it would be our game state manager, but if it's not our game state manager, the next guy I would think to look at is cafe. Do you have the responsibility of the spellcasting screen? You, let's see, if I do you as, hold on, let me grab you here, Control Shift F, find you here. Who owns you? We own it in our game state spellcasting here. So this guy owns it. We also own it in our spell testing, and we also own it in this guy here. So if I had to guess, it's in our game state spellcasting. Ah, I see. So you here are responsible. You have a child as the spellcasting, and you are enabled and disabled when we enter and when we exit. So if I had to guess, I'm going to think that our enter and exit is getting done a lot somewhere along the lines here for our utility current one. And hi, Torn. Welcome into stream. Welcome in. Slides that are open to the room, looking at you. What? Trying new things, and we had no rope entrance before. Reminds me of the firefighter poles. Oh boy, sliding around those. Let's go ahead and instead see about back into our spellcasting screen. Then here, you and you here, and you here, you here. You get enabled and disabled, if I'm not mistaken. We have ready, we have you there, we have process, we have enable, reset, disable. Looking at you, where do we use your enable and disable? If I had to guess, we are using you here in our spellcasting screen. So this guy here, our spellcasting mini game, yeah. I think I'm going to have to dissect this a little bit more, but just no worries at all. I definitely do think it's possible to sit down with like another cup of tea and another cup of coffee and really go through this. I think it's possible. I do. And okay, Perry the Platypus. Oh boy. So this is what I'm going to do. From today until tomorrow, I'm going to look at this calibration more in detail, at least for a little bit longer. If I can't figure it out, that's fine, and that's what we'll be working on tomorrow. But if so, let me bring you back into concepts here. And how speak fast, how no breathe. Excitement of otherworldly powers, if I had to guess. Oh boy. So I'll try to work on getting the calibration guy working. That's this guy here. If I can get it working, then and we can get past this calibration point. So if I can't get that working today to tomorrow, we will do that tomorrow. Otherwise, what we'll be doing tomorrow is we will be adding the idea that you'll have to now make a test dish for the spider. So that will either be tomorrow or that'll be next week, we'll see. But that'll be the idea of it. Let me click on this guy and bring you back into our just chatting here. Lovely, lovely. Let me then go ahead and do exclamation NECROTYPE as well. So if you'd like, again, to get the prototype or to try the prototype out of the game and let me know if you find any bugs or things of that nature, feel free to try it on the itch, as well as I do exclamation Discord here too. And oh, hold on, what was that? Thank you. Is it Ravi, possibly? Thank you for the follow. Thank you as well. And welcome in. If you join the Discord, and oh, we're at step 2. Yeah, there's a lot of steps. This is step 2 of part 1. Feel free to join the Discord as well. I have a little devlog in there. So if you want to get more behind the scenes on development of Necrotype Cafe itself, feel free to join that as well. Hug ears. Unfortunately, no command there. With that said, though, if you're on Twitch, consider sticking around. It's always a bunch of fun seeing if we can find a fellow Godot game developer to raid, as there's not enough of them. Like, there's not enough pixel artists out there, too. So I'm going to end on YouTube, and then if you stick around, so I'm going to go to the end screen, and then I'm going to come back, and then let's see if we can find someone new to raid us. It's also fun to find new people, too. But that said, though, if I don't see you tomorrow for a continuation of this, I hope to see you next week, and the plan is to get this tutorial done by the end of the month. Fingers crossed. We'll see. With that said, I hope you all have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, or good night. I hope to see you all soon, right? Bye-bye.